Good morning, everybody. It's 7 a.m. on Tuesday, November 2nd. Today in Baton Rouge, expect to see clear skies with a high of 75. Coming up on OTB, presented by All-Star Toyota, LSU head football coach Ed Orgeron joins the show at 7:30, and Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football calls in at 9 to talk Saints. We also have our OTB Mailbag today, so get your questions into the Bayou Ford YouTube chat, and we'll answer them at 8:15. You can follow today's show on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN, or watch us on YouTube for new content posted every day. You can also check us out on Your View. Hour number 1 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
Let we go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I gotta come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
Hello and welcome in to another edition of OTB. It is Tuesday, November 2nd, and we are most pleased to be with you this morning. Just quite a bit to talk about. Some good, some bad, some exciting, some not so exciting. Mainly the dividing lines are driven along. Are you talking about the Saints or LSU? As a lot of the Saints talk, well, definitely infused and peppered with plenty of adversity. A lot of Saints talk is relatively exciting and interesting and positive and optimistic, whereas kind of the polar opposite is true with LSU, where everything is just a bit it's just tough out there right now. There's just not a ton to feel great about going into this Saturday game against Alabama in T-Town. Well, like, I'm doing interviews this morning, and they're like, LSU fans are buying their tickets. Like, what's going on? You're scared? I'm like, oh, yeah, dude. Sure. Somebody's going to pay their hard-earned money that they go to work for to go watch LSU in Tuscaloosa, surrounded by Alabama fans and houndstooth and all the obnoxiosities that come with that. Like, sure, somebody's going to pay their hard-earned money to do that. That's a great investment of your money and time. No, of course people are returning tickets. Like, that makes all the sense in the world. So, yeah, that is kind of where it's at, though, right now with LSU and Alabama.
I actually liked your impersonation.
This is how annoying radio hosts sound to me sometimes. Which would probably sound like that to myself sometimes.
I think it's just strictly in Alabama.
Their overcompensation to punch down is just so sad at a certain point. Like, right now, it's basically like, okay, let's go back to the Hanny and Dick Condon hospice care thing, right? Like, LSU football's on hospice care. Alabama's walking to the room and just punching them in the face. Like, everybody's like, whoa, what the hell, dude? That's really messed up. That person, like, what are you doing? That person can't even defend themselves. You're going to do that? Yeah, that's you. All you Alabama fans trying to talk trash this week, like, relax. Show some compassion, some empathy, man. Wow. Not the case with New Orleans Saints, though, who are the ones doing the punching. Only they're beating up, like, professional MMA fighters and then just leaving their bodies broken on the ground. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, frauds. Jake, what's up, man? What happened?
What happened? What do you mean?
Where is your flavor saver?
You mean mustache?
I must
Flavor
ask you
saver's
a question.
below.
I must ask you a question. Must ask you?
Here's the thing, okay? So
Flavor saver is below, but it can also be a mustache. I mean, I'm sure when you would drink coffee, you got a little coffee in that stash, and then you give it a little lick.
yeah, maybe. So the Braves lost on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Everton lost yesterday afternoon.
Oh, wow.
The Kindergarten Tigers lost, and the second grade Hokies lost. There was only one thing that kind of changed, and that was the mustache.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Your mustache cursed specifically all the teams that you enjoy. I agree. Your mustache was why the Braves blew Game 5 after the opening Grand Slam.
Mm-hmm.
Completely makes sense that Everton also would have heard about it and been a bit thrown off.
You know,
And then how could that not?
Messages don't travel by sea anymore, T-Bob.
How that's true. I mean, the internet's a hell of a thing. That picture's over there immediately.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the Blues are freaking out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know the Everton Club nickname.
And
then, again, it
Blues
makes...
place.
Oh, Toffees.
Yeah.
Again, though, it makes all the logical sense in the world that would then extend to flag football. So, good call. Good job. I think you found the root of the issue. I think in no way does it have to do with like any injuries on the Braves or like just Everton generally not being too good or a lack of coaching on your part. Because I know there's a really big game last night for y'all. No, that had nothing to do with it. Or Lucas being out.
Exactly.
That had nothing to do with it. It was a mustache.
It was the mustache.
Okay. Watch, now you shaved it and like the Braves will win the World Series, Everton will win.
Yeah.
And you will have been proven correct.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll learn tonight with the World
We're
Series.
going to learn tonight.
Yeah, we're going to learn. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some headlines.
OTB headlines are brought to you by Barbecue Guys. Barbecue Guys, for those who are born to grill. Visit bbqguys.com to learn more.
Okay, we got a slate of LSU football news here. Miles Brennan is transferring. This broke, I want to say, about an hour and a half, somewhere around there after the show yesterday. To me, this makes all the sense in the world, right? It is full reset time for LSU. It would kind of make sense to be full reset time for Miles Brennan, all right? Like, he's known this staff and who he's been with in terms of and everything since he got out of high school. That is all now going to change. I would guess the new coach would kind of have his gaze set into the future as well. But even then, it's just irrelevant. It makes sense to me from just a feeling. It might be a bad way of verbalizing it, but from a feeling standpoint, that he too would seek a new beginning as LSU football is.
Yeah, it does make all the sense, but it still hurts a little bit because of what Miles has gone through.
Yeah.
You know, coming here and kind of obviously all of us knowing the way his career started, and then Joe comes and he waits behind Joe and he gets his opportunity and he throws for 375 yards a game, and it's a short sample size, but you feel like he really was about to just take off, and then he has this injury that literally no doctor had ever really seen before, and they're trying to figure out the best case for him. Do we have surgery? Do we not? And he misses the whole year. And then this year, right before the season, we all know how it happened, right? So it's just so devastating for someone who wanted to wait, who wanted to do it the right way. And he did. Yeah. He did do it the right way. He didn't take his ball and go home, you know, with so many times where he could. And then this one right now is different. It makes sense, like you said, T-Bob. The people that brought you here are not going to be here. And you've got young quarterbacks on this roster, another one coming in, and you probably want a fresh start with a new set of eyes.
Yeah, it's just there's too much baggage here. Like you said, two of the unluckiest breaks in history. You know who did take their ball and go home? You took your mustache and you went home with it, and now you came back clean shaven. I don't know if it's a good omen. Only time will tell. No bug
it couldn't be worse. I mean, it was 4 losses in a row.
Huh?
And the Knicks lost to the Raptors last night.
Well, whatever. I hate the Knicks, so it doesn't matter.
I don't care what you hate.
I actually did love Knicks fans after the Game 1 win of the season. That montage, did you see that? Mm-hmm. The montage of Knicks fans going crazy. That was actually pretty fantastic. Okay, let's dive through these things. So, no bug strong. He entered the transfer portal, right? That means expect to see some Greg Penn III on Saturday. He's been playing a little bit recently.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot more on Saturday. Get those reps in. Chasen Hines returned to practice. He will be available against Alabama. Cardell Flott is on the fence. Coach O saying he hopes that he'll return to practice by Wednesday. That's important because Sage Ryan is now out. So the hits keep on coming for that LSU secondary. And better news, Trey Bradford is now eligible and healthy, so maybe you see that running back a little bit on Saturday. And again, in case you missed it, the Bama kickoff will be at 6 p.m. this Saturday on ESPN. First time since 06, not on CBS. Also, the LSU-Arkansas kickoff at Tiger Stadium, 6:30 next Saturday, Jake.
Okay, that's a lot to unpack. Let me see if I can get to some of this.
I mean, we can save the injury if you want to talk about the injury stuff.
No, real quick, I do want to mention. So I was having a conversation with linebacker coach Blake Baker before, I think it was before the Florida game, and he was talking about Greg Penn and how good he thinks he can be and his instincts and some of the things. Now, at that point, he wasn't playing yet, so I am excited to see Greg Penn in a bigger role. against Alabama. But some of these injuries, we're definitely going to have to take more of a segment to talk about some of these and the impact of these injuries. I don't think it's a quick headlines deal.
In New Orleans Saints news, so that's coming up at 10:15. In New Orleans Saints news, it's official. James Winston has a torn ACL, damaged his MCL. Feel bad for our boy. Another story that we will dive into deeper later on, as Peyton says they are satisfied with the QB room. He's also being mum on who will start on Sunday between Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian. Time will tell. And Monday Night Football last night, the Chiefs win 20-17. The Giants got close, but they are like as not good as the Chiefs are. The Giants are still way worse. I don't know how Joe Judge defends the undisciplined nature of this team, right? Like, you can't be a hardo coach and then your team shoots itself in the foot, making game-losing mental mistakes every single week. It just, there's a disconnect there. Chiefs do get the win, though. In other NFL news, Von Miller traded to the Rams. How about it, Jake? 8-time Pro Bowler heading to Los Angeles. The Rams taking a 2022 second and third round pick for Miller. And the Broncos will also pay $9 million of the $9.7 million base salary for the remaining games of the season. Good deal for LA. Who needs draft picks? The Rams now in 2022 have 1 third-round pick, 1 fifth-round pick, and 2 seventh-round picks.
Yeah, they have definitely saw what they have right now, and right now is what they're worried about. They feel like they have a team that can go win a championship, which, hey, I'm okay going all in the NFL. You just never know when that window is going to open back up, and very few teams can have that window stay open as long as like the Patriots did for a while. The Saints kind of had obviously a window for a long time, and still right now when you look at their team, they're still kind of in it as well. So if it's open, you have to go all in. And you know, Von Miller, is his best days ahead of him? No, but he's still a good player. And now you're talking about defensive line that everybody's going to fear. They already probably did.
Who's their cat that's on their D line that already has 6.5 sacks? Now the Rams haven't been the most dominant though this year, but this could. Like, I would still take them in a playoff type of setting because how they can disrupt the quarterback.
Were you surprised that Vaughn got a second and a third? Just at this point in his career, paying that much money. Like, people, you know, the way these GMs just kind of hold their draft picks so near to their chest. To get that?
I mean,
look, Von Miller's a beast. Trust me. I don't know.
I don't even really know about the quality of Von Miller, to be honest. Past couple of years, the Broncos have been so irrelevant that they've just kind of been in the background of my NFL mind. They've just kind of existed in the background. I'm still a bit like, you know, when you don't pay attention to a development, I'm still a bit like, yeah, Von Miller, he's a beast. Remember the Super Bowl? Mm-hmm. So, like, in terms of getting second and third, though, just look at Les Snead, the Rams GM. He doesn't care, dude. I mean, he is all about giving up whatever draft capital he needs for known assets now. So they traded their first-round pick for Matt Stafford, second and third for Von Miller. They traded their fourth-round pick for Brandon Cooks back in the day. They traded their sixth-round pick for Sony Michel. So they will, they will.
Yeah, so
it's a different form of team building. I do think it probably carries some long-term consequence. But you know what?
Yeah,
people have said that about the Saints for years. That their salary cap would, and even with this offseason where, like, this was finally pay the piper time only because of a horrible hand that COVID dealt, you still emerge from it pretty damn good. So maybe the Rams never do pay the piper, and this is just some sort of forward-thinking team building. It remains to be seen.
You got Aaron Donald now. You have Von Miller. You have Leonard Floyd. You have Ashawn Robinson.
Leonard Floyd has like 6.5 sacks on the year, I think.
First-round pick, former first-round pick, not for the Rams.
They trade for him too. I actually don't know. Fascinating stuff. I mean, think about this, dude. I was thinking about this a lot as I've been watching the Lions. Sean McVay had Jared Goff in the Super Bowl. Okay? Like, they know what they have now and what their potential is, and they're like, okay, we are expending the war chest to try to take home that ring. If we got Jared Goff there, Matt Stafford, we think we can get across the finish line. And finally, LSU will look to get across the finish line against Arkansas tonight, a rematch on the soccer pitch in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament going down tonight, 5 p.m. SEC Network. LSU 11-6-1 in the year. Arkansas 14-3, fourth in the country. Going to be 5 p.m. tonight, SEC Network.
Believe.
Yeah, believe, exactly.
That's all you got to do.
Ted Lasso game, for sure.
Believe, because not only did you beat Arkansas not that long ago, a couple days ago, but also, like, you have to remember the form that you were in at the beginning of the season. You were Arkansas. You were the team that everybody was trying to chase because you went on this epic road trip and got like 4 ranked wins, and then you came back and you beat another ranked opponent, and obviously you hit a slide after that, but nothing to say you can't climb back up and get to that point again. So look, you've already done it. Go do it again.
I agree. Let's go, girls. Get it done. And finally, while you did not get it in time to be on the document, here it is. I see it in there, Mark. Good job. Pelicans. As the Pelicans coach, Willie Green, says Zion Williamson will undergo another set of scans in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Good.
That will determine if he can do 5-on-5 work.
Oh, my God.
And the Pels play the Suns in Phoenix at 9 p.m. tonight.
Cool.
Actually, I mean, that is honestly way cooler than the Zion part of this, because this Pelicans team is kind of fun to watch, but you're right. The Suns game's not going to go well.
They're competitive. Fun to watch is a stretch.
Well, yeah, fun to watch this stretch.
But competitive is better than last year.
But again, it's not even about being competitive, because old Pelicans team was competitive, but they felt lazy. Like they didn't give a damn. Like nobody played with energy or effort. At least this team's like a bunch of scrappy guys going balls to the wall, but it's not, a team full of Rudies can carry, a team full of 2-stars can only carry you so far.
And they'll get more chemistry as the season goes. It's a long season.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a long season.
Technically, that is a fact. 82
I
games.
know. We've all felt it if you've followed a Pelican season.
One more programming note before we go to break here. In the Port City, of course, we're on 11:30 a.m. The Tiger. You can also now hear us on 103.3, an FM station in Shreveport as well. They're going to be on both stations. So if you listen to us on 11:30 a.m. The Tiger, for some reason you're on the FM radio, 103.3.
Looking, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps all the bench overtime as well. When we get back, let's break down the LSU injuries, what it means, and Coach Joe coming up at 7:30. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
If you were born to grill, you have to go to Barbecue Guys for all your grilling and outdoor living needs. With the largest selection of top grills and outdoor products and best-in-class customer service, Barbecue Guys has it all. Visit bdqguys.com. That's bdqguys.com. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to GEAUXroof.com, GoRoof.com. 927-8300 is the number, 927-8300. Get a free professional estimate from Go Roof. So you figure out exactly where you stand, right? A lot of places, they're just out here trying to maximize profit, and so they charge you just to come out and look, man. What's that about? Not the case. At Go Roof, call them, set up a time. They come out there, let you know exactly where you stand. Maybe you got no issues. Perfect. You got peace of mind now. No sweat off your back. Maybe it's a small thing. You can decide whether or not you want to go forward with it or not. Maybe it's an emergency thing. It has to happen. Well, Go Roof has your back. Insurance covers it. Great. If not, they will work with you to find monthly payment options, because, again, the only thing they care about is taking care of the community's roofing needs. And when you work with Go Roof, what you're going to find is you get a beautiful new roof every shingle time. Get it? It's called 927-8300. When they answer the phone, hit them with the roofs up. Of course, everybody's licensed, bond insured. 2-year workmanship guarantee on top of the manufacturer warranty. Go to Go Roof.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt, and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are now open for business and are ready to serve our customers with disaster relief employee pricing off I-10 in LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crews at Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana.
Join us for Tuesday's Hunt and Hill. Where do the Saints go post-Jameis? It's LSU Bama Week and our SEC Power Rankings. Join us noon to 2 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Off the Bench. I want to talk a little LSU here, but first, I mean, we'll probably have to address this later in the show, but it's Chris Pratt being cast as Garfield stuff is pretty weird. But, I mean, I guess it's not as weird as Mario, so whatever. I get it, but maybe we'll circle back around later. First, though, boys, sports betting opened up over the weekend. We had sports books opening up here in Louisiana. Soon enough, I don't know exactly when. Did y'all take Ronnie Johns yesterday? When is our DraftKings mobile going to kick off?
Looks like the mobile is lagging a little bit.
Yeah,
the in-person was this week,
and that is what we were told. A few months back is that it would be it would be a little bit before it got away. Very excited for that, though. But last night I did have the pleasure of going out there to the Bears, and I got to they gave me $500 to pick a 2-team parlay. Now it's interesting because I love this idea that like they made Rohan do a 3-team, right? So it's like I love this idea of like they're giving money that essentially they know there's a good chance that's going to be they're going to get it right back. They're going to hand it right back to him, but maybe not. And so, in kind of thinking about the best way to do this, we decided as a group, dude, this should be for the team, for the boys. And so we put our heads together. We chose our 2-team parlay, and we got a nice payout, boys. If we win this week, and that $500 going to be $2K, meaning everybody gets $500 right around Christmas season. Let's go, boys. That's a PS5 for you two back there.
Yeah.
Jake, you don't get the money unless you watch A New Hope. I have that in the notes. I have put that in the official contract. I am not giving you your $500 unless you watch Star Wars A New Hope with your son. Because if you watch it alone, I feel like you're going to be like a little like, you're going to have the potential
there ain't
to
no
tune
bylaws
out.
In this deal.
Yeah, nah, look, I as the holder of the purse strings here, Mari Denny, no stipulations. Y'all got it. You got to watch A New Hope with your kid. Otherwise, you're not getting. Well, you know what? We're getting ahead of ourselves, though. We don't have any money right now, okay? What we need, and we need all of our off-the-bench listeners, all the bench warmers here, would shout out Nookie or whoever came up with that name. But we need some positive universal energy here, okay? This weekend, are both these games on Saturday? I haven't looked it up yet. This weekend, I guess I'm just wondering if Wake Forest is maybe trying to sneak like a Friday. No,
I think it's Saturday. I think it's both Saturday games.
This weekend, we need the Wake Forest money line.
Yep.
So it's Wake Forest plus 2.5 against UNC.
But scared money don't make money.
Yeah, screw Sam Howell. Plus, yeah, we needed to get that payout where we each get a cool 500.
Yeah.
So Wake Forest money line, and then Ole Miss minus 9.5 against Liberty. I know it pains a lot of people to have to cheer for Ole Miss, but hey, gambling makes for strange bedfellows. And I will pinch my nose and cuddle up with Lane if I have to here for this Saturday so that the boys can win a PS5. Very excited here. Very exciting stuff. Thanks, Bears, for doing this. I'm pumped.
We're going to be maniacs in the group chat trying to will these teams to victory.
Yes, absolutely.
Look, you have to pick a money line that's realistic, that's not like a 17-point spread. Mario, nice job pointing that one out because it's just close enough. You can get some pretty good odds. It's a team that's undefeated. North Carolina's ebbs and flows this year. Let's hope they're on one of those.
Yeah, and it was a group decision. Jake had a nice grouping of games. Mario came with the Wake Forest picks. Demon Deacons, baby!
What did Danny do?
Let's go. Danny literally did not respond to a single text.
Not one of them.
Not one text did Danny respond to. In fact, Danny rarely responds to the group chat unless it's like something to do with, I don't know, some social media link that he's pushing.
That's false.
I'm
active in the group chat.
No, I don't know about that. Danny, then why were you nowhere to be found when we were trying to figure out how to make ourselves $2,000 yesterday?
Because I was busy doing OTB social media.
It's a great answer. Good job. I'm proud of you. He probably was doing YouTube stuff, actually.
Probably real factual.
So really excited about that, man. Now, on to LSU. Again, trying to make the boys have a good Christmas here. PS5s for all boys. Let's ride.
Team Xbox, but whatever.
This weekend. That's fine. That's fine. New video game consoles for all. I mean, hell, you get the Xbox, you get Game Pass and everything. Unbeatable deal if you have kids nowadays. Probably incredible for you.
It is. We have it.
Okay. Other news, look, you got Miles Brennan transferring. I don't know that there's a ton to talk about here. Jake, do you have anything that we didn't say during headlines?
No, I mean, obviously, when Coach O hops on here in a couple of minutes, the injury portion of it's probably going to be one of my first questions just because you had so many guys out last week and you're trying to, figure out how you can have a bye week situation practice because bye week practice is obviously different than regular season practice. You're game planning a little bit, but it's also self-scout and trying to figure out which young guys can maybe help you at the back end of the season. So kind of where are they at injury-wise and who's going to step up? Who's some faces that we haven't seen yet that we're going to see?
Yeah, so one of those faces that you would see would be Greg Penn. I wonder exactly. I mean, so he's played some snaps this year. I think he logged like maybe 16 last time out or something along those lines. But he was a big-time recruit from Maryland. And now his opportunity. And somebody asked me this morning, and they were like, do you feel like these players have checked out? And I'm like, well, it's a weird thing to judge outside looking in because I don't think so, right? They still have a ton to play for in terms of you have to put your best film on there and, try to put your best foot forward to help yourself out individually in your career and to help your team out. But, like, you still have a ton of motivation to play for. The problem is, though, it might look like guys sometimes aren't putting their best foot forward or aren't putting out effort when they're just not put in great positions to succeed, right? I mean, you heard Coach O during the self-scout clip yesterday talk about how this is just a team that is predictable on both sides of the ball. That makes it very hard if you're a player and you're put in predictable situations, especially if you're maybe not that good to begin with. That makes it very hard to succeed. So you can attribute like bad play to checking out. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't think that's the case. But for like someone like Greg Penn, certainly he should be fired up. Getting to go play in a packed Bryant-Denny against number 1 Alabama. You want to put good film out there? You want to start to prove yourself? Like this is the stage when you can start to do that.
So when I get asked that same question, T, I just have a hard time believing you can be at a place like LSU or playing the SEC and once you're on that field, not be completely locked into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Some pride has to take over. And if they've checked out and there's no pride and they're just like, whatever about it, then that's not who you want anyways.
Yeah.
Because every time you go out there, you only get so many. And I know everybody thinks they're going to play 10 years in the NFL. but you only get so many games in college football. It's just, if you asked almost any NFL person that came from an SEC school, would you rather have one more SEC game or NFL game? They'd say SEC game. You only get so many of those opportunities, and I have a hard time believing anybody just goes out there and is like, whatever, I don't care. But if they do, they don't need to be here anyway.
And the thing is, though, I think that a lot of people will attribute those emotions to people when it's arguably not true, right? Like, what if you're just not that good? Like, what if you're someone who is
that's one thing, and you can tell.
Like, what if you're someone who is buried on this depth chart, and unfortunately, you're maybe just not up to this caliber, and now you're being forced into action, and you combine that with a scheme that maybe isn't putting you in the best position, you can look really bad. And I think to our eye, we can, well, not just our eye. I mean, I think the more discerning can kind of tell the differences therein, but I don't know if the general public can. So even if you're like giving full effort, but you play bad, a lot of people just say like, "Oh, you suck and you're checked out." I don't know that I agree, but I mean, what I don't know that it matters.
But you, I mean, with your football eye, you can see if someone's checked out or if they're just bad or if they're just playing the wrong technique. I mean, you can tell.
I agree, but I'm just saying on like a general like. Everybody's drinking, watching the game, and firing off takes. I feel like a lot of people are just gonna be like, "This team doesn't care," even if you have like Grant Pin III trying his ass off, but he's just a freshman again in Tuscaloosa, and his like head is spinning a little bit.
No, that's completely fair. But you also, I mean,
but we'll set you right on Monday. We'll let you know.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I don't know, man. I'm not looking forward to this weekend too much. But we'll see. Hey, you know what? Let's go to break, and then when we get back, we're gonna call Coach O and talk to him about recruiting, the game Saturday, the self-scout period, all of this and more. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com, All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. If you want to get that minivan, join me in the MVG in that new Toyota Sienna, the 2021. A beautiful 2022 is right around the corner, meaning deals are going to crop up for Christmas, both with the 2022s and the 2021s. As always, Toyota certified used vehicles are there for you, where you get things like Toyota Care and warranty coverage that you normally only get on new cars. Look, the bottom line is go to All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com. Start with that website. Let that kind of be your first steps. And then just be impressed with what they offer you and how they can solve any of your vehicular needs.
Yeah, they can meet all of your needs, and it doesn't matter if you're trading in, buying new, or if you're renting. It's all right there on All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com on the homepage. Rent a Toyota, something we tell you about all the time. They got everything available, and it's per-day pricing, great pricing as well. You can find that right there, again, on the homepage of All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Ochsner Care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Ochsner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Coming up on a Tuesday edition of Early Line, we go out to Vegas and talk to Rafael Esparza of MyBookie.com. Plus, we recap Monday Night Football and start looking ahead to the weekend's action. Join us, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back. Off the Bench. It is Tuesday at 7:30. That was a light one. Okay, y'all relax. Y'all all relax. Let's go to the phone lines. We do it every Tuesday. Talk to the head man of LSU football, Coach Ed Orgeron. Coach O, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys? Great competition Tuesday versus Alabama. What a great day.
Hey, yes, sir. But before we look forward, let's look back. Y'all had a bye week last week. That's a time generally filled with recruiting. So what did that look like right now, Coach? With just as things stand now, going into the bye week, what did y'all do on the recruiting front this last weekend?
Monday, we spent the day of Saturday giving the team off. We spent the day of Sunday and Monday out, which was very beneficial to us. Tuesday, we had a light practice, like a Monday practice. And then Wednesday, we had about a 2-hour practice. It was only helmets and some spider pads. And we put in and did some stuff and corrected. We had a lot of unit periods and walked through stuff. Then Thursday, the guys were playing take the ball, laser tag, got to eat and walk-ons, and then everybody went home for a great weekend. Thursday, all day Friday, I was coaching about recruiting. I got to see 2 great games right there in Memorial Stadium. I loved it. And Saturday, I got to go watch those Top Boys play Southeastern. And what a great game at Strawberry Stadium.
How was before we go back to recruiting? How was getting to watch Cody play again, Coach?
It was great. I only got 1 game left. I get to go see a senior day. The day we play UL Monroe, I think they play at 12. So I get to see them and walk them on the field. Think about this. This is the last time that I get to see one of my kids play a sport. So it's going to be a special time.
Yeah, man. I can't really – my kids are 3 and 1. I can't really fathom that. I got a ways to go yet, Coach. What does recruiting look like now, Coach, in terms of just messaging and everything else and what you're telling these guys?
It's been great. As I told them, I've been recruiting some of these young men for 3 years. And I'm not going to change my tune. I love LSU, and I think LSU is a great school, especially for an in-state player, and that he ought to come to LSU. And I told everyone of that. I still think that LSU is the best place for him.
And, Coach, kind of speaking of recruits, obviously some young guys going to get an opportunity in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Got some injuries piling up a little bit, and you're going to see some guys like Greg Penn play linebacker, and I know some other guys that are going to step up and maybe – faces we haven't seen just yet going to have an opportunity to play in Tuscaloosa. Is there any other names that you think can be seen for the first time, or at least some of the first time in significant action?
Well, Greg Penn, but other guys that hasn't gotten a lot of action. He played some, but Ray Darius Jones, he's going to have to play. Pig Cage, our guy from Nickel State, has done a great job. He may have to play some at nickel. We have to play those guys. Then Trey Bradford is finally eligible. Is finally healthy. So let's see what he can do this week.
Coach, so the other news that came out yesterday is that Miles Brennan is transferring. It seems to make just a lot of sense, kind of outside looking in, looking for a fresh start. What did you have any conversations with Miles, or when you kind of look back on just your relationship with Miles, what can you say about it?
Fantastic. I love him. I love his family. We're best friends. His mother and father and the whole family are great people. Miles and I always had a great relationship. I trusted him. He trusted me. I can tell him something was wrong yesterday. He kind of took a deep breath and had his shoulders roll forward.
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with something bothering him. And it was hard. It was hard for him to make this decision. And I'm sure he thought long and hard. His family did. And I told him, I said, listen, you graduated from LSU. You did everything you can at LSU. You walk out of this building proud and go find a place that you feel that's great for you. And hopefully you play 1 year, have a great year, and get to play in the NFL. That's his dream.
Yeah, definitely. And he has the talent. I'll be fascinated to see just a lot of bad luck around here. Talking to Coach O. Coach, yesterday in your press conference, you listed kind of a list of things to improve on, right, from the self-scouting period. How do you kind of pare that down? Like, how do you focus in on what your main points are that you're trying to fix for this weekend?
T-Bob, just being predictable. Just being predictable on first down, either by offensive formations, play calling, or defense, by fronts and coverages, and just mix it up a little bit. Give them something different on first downs instead of the same thing all the time.
Hey, Coach, obviously, like we talked about, like some younger players are going to play, and so you get an opportunity. Maybe you can do some of those things. But like the last drive against Ole Miss offensively, like you looked up, and there was a ton of true freshmen out there, but they moved the ball down the field, got the ball in the end zone at the end. I mean, that's also something that can be a positive. I know you're going on the road, and I know it's going to be a tough environment, but are any of those true freshmen you're looking forward to that kind of finished that Ole Miss game to playing on Saturday?
Well, I'm going to talk to Garrett Nussmeier and his father today. Obviously Garrett wants to be the man, and he is a great quarterback. I think he's going to be a great quarterback here. But Max does not deserve to be benched. His play doesn't warrant that. But when Garrett went in, he provided a spark. We won the fourth quarter 10-0. So I'm going to talk to his father. We got to play one more game before we can get redshirted, if he wants to get redshirted. So that's still up in the air.
Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And keep that extra year of eligibility. Coach, I know you kind of touched on this yesterday, but when you look at Alabama, I guess, what does the scouting report say?
Yeah, strong team. Always a strong team. Plus 7 in the turnover ratio, 11 interceptions. A very good offensive line. Evan Neal's probably the best left tackle that we're going to play. He's an outstanding player. I've recruited Evan. He's a first-round pick. The offensive line team comes off the ball. They're very strong. The running back, Robinson, is a strong one-cut back. The quarterback is mobile, very smart. The speedy wide receivers. On defense, they have a great defensive line, a great group of linebackers. It's a very, very strong football team.
Coach O, thank you so much, man. Look, best of luck competition Tuesday today, going to T-Town this weekend, and we will talk to you next Tuesday.
All right, guys. Go Tigers.
Yes, sir. There it is, Coach Ed Orgeron filling you in on something new today. Okay, so that kind of let's talk about on the other side. I want to talk about the Garrett Nussmeier answer because I feel like there is a lot to unpack there. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to therelaxationcompany.org, therelaxationcompany.org. I'm always telling you about what, it's a family, locally owned business. Jennifer DeLotte's been a licensed massage therapist for 2 decades. Now she finally has a place to call her own. Right, we can all appreciate that, right? You work in a business for so long and you really know it inside and out. And you always have things like, you know what, if I was running the show, I would do this, I would do that. Well, you are getting a lifetime worth of experience at the relaxation company, and that's why the process is so nice and enjoyable. The massage is so great. It's all right there at Pelican Point in Gonzales, Jake.
And we give you, look, the Instagram handle TRC Massage all the time. Like last night, they were set up at Anytime Fitness in Dutchtown, right? They had a booth there. They're trying to help you learn more information about all the new things they have going on. So that's why we encourage you to follow them on Instagram. That way you can keep up with all the stuff that they're doing, giveaways, and they're having raffles, and they're trying to spread more information. Again, TRC Massage, therelaxationcompany.org.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are now open for business and are ready to serve our customers with disaster relief employee pricing off I-10 in LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crews at Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury will join us. We'll talk some Saints with Larry Holder. Hopefully you'll join us as well, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Where's the Stranger Things intro, Danny? I'm just kidding. Are you cooking up Christmas treats, Dan?
We just going to forget about Thanksgiving?
No, that's why I say cooking up. I'm not saying like play them in November.
No,
I'm
you
wondering
just-
if he's laying the.
You completely overlook Thanksgiving right there.
I think you're being a little defensive and you're ascribing.
Did y'all
things
feel like
to
he
me
overlooked
that I was
Thanksgiving
not
when
doing.
he said, "Did you play the Stranger Things, which is Halloween?
Well, that was
and
a
are you
joke.
cooking up the Christmas ones?"
That was a joke to set up.
The second one, maybe.
Is Danny, is he in the lab working on Christmas?
I'm always in the lab.
Why is he not
is
working
always
on
in the lab.
Thanksgiving?
So okay, I've been thinking about this. Yesterday I was like, man, I need to play some like Thanksgiving music. I don't know if there's Thanksgiving music that isn't kind of racially charged. There's a lot of like, Little Indian and stuff like that. I don't know how that plays anymore nowadays. But like, the only Thanksgiving thing that I can think about is
I was thinking
watch.
more graphics like fall turkeys.
Okay, should we dress up as pilgrims? I'd be down for that. I do love a pilgrim outfit. I mean,
Every day of November.
pretty fire. Them dudes had belt buckles on their hat. That's pretty litty. Danny, we could probably make that go wild on the gram if we wanted to.
Stop.
What? I'm just being cool, man.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am, dude. Belt buckles on the hat. Drip, drip, drip.
That's the first time I've heard someone say the gram in a while.
Yeah, me too. And Liddy, too.
To be honest, I do overlook Thanksgiving.
Glad to hear
Oh,
you're
do
always
you?
in the lab.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where I was going with this. There's only one movie, though, that I think of that I have to watch at Thanksgiving, and it's Plane, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Otherwise, I don't know, like, what are the classic Thanksgiving traditions? I mean, like, eating, seeing your family, football. Like, I love all that. I'm talking about, like, in the run-up to Thanksgiving, what do you do to get yourself in the spirit? I think you just kind of live and enjoy the fall weather.
I think we could put a pretty good list together before we get out of here today.
Try to do a Thanksgiving movie list?
Yeah, just, some ones that you watch around Thanksgiving time, maybe.
Yeah, I know there's more out there that I'm missing. I just am talking about my personal rotation. It's only Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which we actually could do a really good Steve Martin and John Candy, probably, if we wanted to.
I love Steve Martin.
If we didn't want to go the Liddy Drippy Pilgrim route.
Murderers in the Building was really good with Steve Martin on Hulu.
My wife really enjoyed it. I tried a couple episodes, and I don't know if it was for me, but I have heard very good things
Yeah, I
about
don't care
it.
what you think.
Okay. Oof, geez,
It was good.
Just trying to weigh in a little bit. Just a little conversation
You like Martin
on the
Short?
radio.
I figured you would like Martin Short.
That's the thing. I love all those guys. I love Martin Short.
You like Selena Gomez?
I like Selena Gomez. I don't know much of Selena Gomez, but I like her. I have no problem with her. I just it was I don't know. Something about it didn't click with me. You know how that is. It's just weird. Sometimes stuff clicks with you, sometimes it doesn't. It looked like the game was maybe clicking with Garrett Nussmeier a little bit last week. So let's unpack what Coach O said there. He said he has to have a conversation with his father. He definitely acknowledged that, look, while Max remains the starter, it seems like Garrett has earned playing time.
Right.
But now Garrett's appeared in, 3 games, you said, Jake?
Yeah, this would be his 4th.
So if he wants to redshirt, he can only appear in one more game.
Right.
So that's the conversation piece with the father. You're guessing. Is
Yes.
do you want to burn this red shirt or not?
Yeah, he's going to play. We have 4 games left. He's going to have time and probably every game that he'll get on the field. But do you want to do that? Do you want to, in a non-starting year, full season, do you want to burn his red shirt? It's not a conversation that's had near as much as it used to be. Like, just nobody really redshirts anymore. They just don't.
Not the big bad guys.
Really, honestly, anybody.
Not a lineman?
I mean, maybe more than other positions, but like you got safeties and linebackers and running backs that are just running down on kickoff and kickoff return, and that's all they do, and they're burning their red shirt. That's just that is way more common now than it ever really was. I mean, when you and I were at LSU, I mean, you could probably think of a guy who played in the NFL for a long time that redshirt, like Tyson Jackson redshirted for us. He was the number 3 overall pick.
Yeah.
Like now that doesn't happen. So I'm sure that conversation is, do you want Garrett to redshirt? Is that something y'all want? Or do you want him to play? I know Garrett, and Garrett's going to want to play. That's something he absolutely would want. But now that conversation between him and his parents and, try to lay all your options out there on the table.
Yeah, it's tough to want to give up I guess it's kind of weighing, okay, are multiple games. And the problem is you don't really know how much playing time you'll get in multiple games, right? Like, you're not guaranteed here that, okay, if you appear in 2 to 3 games, that you're going to play the whole game. It could be a couple series in each game. And so you got to say, okay, is that worth a year of eligibility? And I don't know. I'm very pro red shirt. So I I would be a bit hesitant. I think if it was my son. But again, like you said, a lot of people aren't nowadays.
Yeah, you're 1 year behind Max, and so if you redshirted, you'd be 2. Obviously, there's some intrigue there.
I mean even less with like Max specifically, and maybe more just in the day and age of being able to transfer quite easily if you need to and kind of get that second opportunity. I think affording yourself more time is never wrong thing.
You can redshirt any year. It doesn't have to be your freshman year.
That is true. But I mean, it's like, but if you've already gone all through, I mean, yeah, but then if you're worried about playing time, like ideally you won't be wanting to redshirt down the road, but maybe you will. I don't know. So you would burn it. You don't think it matters?
I'm playing.
Okay.
The day they told me I wasn't redshirting was one of the greatest days. I want to play.
Hell yeah.
I want to play. I don't want to watch.
Yeah, but I mean, on the other side of that is sometimes redshirting is what's best for that kid and his development.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
You did it on purpose and got the last word.
No,
so I'm going to get the first word.
You were going to say that. That is not true.
DraftKings, go in the App Store. Last night you could have played the Chiefs and Giants game because, like, normally, like, why would you watch the Chiefs and Giants? It was kind of a bad game. But if you had some DraftKings lineups in it, then you would be intrigued by said game. And guess what you've got coming up tonight? Maction. You've also got the World Series.
Yep.
So you can go play that showdown captain mode that we always talk about, create that lineup, select your captain, and win a lot of money. Remember, like $15 can win you $100,000. That's just what you can do over DraftKings, too.
Yeah, so download DraftKings today. Really exciting mobile betting going to be coming very soon, and we'll be riding with DraftKings. You already know, man. It is the most exciting place to experience the sweat. So if you want to help off the bench, use the promo code Baton Rouge. Download it, promo code Baton Rouge. You get free chances to win millions of dollars. Promo code Baton Rouge, all one word. Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Good morning, everybody. It's 8 a.m. on Tuesday, November 2nd. Today in Baton Rouge, expect to see clear skies with a high of 75. In case you missed hour one of the show, you can now catch that up at the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. Coming up on OTB, Nick Underhill and New Orleans Football calls in the third hour to talk Saints, and we have our OTB Mailbag today, so get your questions into the Bayou Ford YouTube chat using the hashtag OTB Mailbag, and we'll get them answered at 8:15. You can follow today's show on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN, or watch us on YouTube for new content posted every day. You can also check us out on YourView. Hour number 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I gotta come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo, yo, yo.
Hello, and welcome to Hour 2 of Off the Bench. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday morning. We are kicking off November 2nd, day of the week, second day of November, and we've got a lot coming up this hour. Right now, we're going to talk Pole Assassin. We're going to talk Dan Mullen, saying, like, dude, does recruiting actually matter that much? We'll talk the Saints in their need or lack thereof of a new quarterback. Get to a lot of Saints talk coming up this hour. And we're trying to still put together a list of Thanksgiving movies. The list remains pretty sparse. We could finish look, as far as the redshirting conversation that we ended hour 1 on, I think that for some people, I think it is simple, right? For some people, playing earliest is best. And for others, maybe having that year to incubate is best. I think that sometimes players...
I think it used to be.
Are cognizant of that. I don't know if you can say that, Jake. I mean, I feel like for a lot of people, it still helps to be able to develop for a year. Like, I don't know that Garrett Dellinger, I mean, maybe he's in a better spot now.
The offensive line is a good position for your argument. But I think there's some other positions. It's just so hard to redshirt now because you just don't know how long you're going to have these players. You don't know if they're going to transfer. You don't know if they're going to go early to the NFL. You don't know how long you're going to have.
Well, if it's a guy going early in the NFL, then I would agree with you. Like, that guy doesn't need a red shirt for the most part, right? Now sometimes you have like a Michael Brockers where he red shirts and he leaves
Greedy Williams.
Red shirt sophomore year, and he's like a first-round pick. So that happens. But, I mean, even Brock, I feel like Brock would probably say that red shirt year helped him out. So I don't know, man. And I'm biased because I was someone who did need to redshirt.
They didn't redshirt.
Yeah, and it was like really good for me, and I needed a year to get bigger and stronger and learn the playbook and everything. And I think
hang out.
Yeah, I think it is especially true at offensive line. I think that other positions less so, but there are still guys who benefit from a year of seasoning a little bit and retaining that extra year of eligibility. So, like, I will say this. As a redshirt senior, you feel like firmly in control of your universe, right? At that point, you understand exactly what the score is. You've been doing it for so long. You have that inherent confidence that comes from experience, and everything just slows down around you. And that pays dividends for some guys. So,
no, I understand what you're saying about all of that. I truly do. Like, there's a lot of really good players that redshirted, and they needed that, and you still need it. But I just don't know if you can get that anymore because just nobody does it, and they want you to be able to play right away. There's some positions where you can do it, but like if you also we're talking about Nussmeier here, right? So if he redshirts, he gets an extra year, which is great. But also, the experience part that he could get in these Final Four games as well if he is going to challenge to be the starter next year. Like, that is going to be a big benefit for him and his individual attempt to be the starter, regardless of who the coach is, right? So if I'm Garrett Nussmeier, that's where my thought process is okay, I have played in 3 games so far. Last time out, I was at Ole Miss, got some SEC time. Now I've got 4 games to go give myself some self-confidence, to go give myself some of that SEC action that if I didn't get it before, then I'm going into this competition only playing in 1 SEC game, and the guy I'm competing against has multiple years.
Yeah, I think that I think then it becomes a question of like, and I don't know if you can even have these answers solidly handed to you, but it's almost like, okay, well, I agree to not redshirt, but how much playing time am I actually going to get? Because is it worth it if it's only
that's the
2
conversation
series
that
a
they're
game?
having
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, exactly.
Coach O's having that conversation with the family today, like, hey, here's our plan for you. What do you want to do? Like, which way do y'all want to lean? And it's not just Coach O because he's on his way out asking that. Every coach is going to have that conversation. Even 20 years ago, they had that conversation. Hey, here's our plan for you. Do you want a red shirt? Is that something you want to do? Now, some guys, they really strong arm into red shirting, but there's some that they have that conversation with because they see them playing a little bit. They want to know how much before they make the decision.
So as far as Thanksgiving movie goes, you got Planes, Trains, and Automobile, Home for the Holidays. I've never seen
Pauly
Robert
Shore.
Downey Jr. son-in-law. Wow.
Pauly Shore. It's a Thanksgiving movie.
Is that where she comes home from college and Pauly Shore is her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'd be so stressed if Alice brought home Pauly Shore.
You should be. Guy came out in 1993. Oh, my God.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder if that's in the classic Pantheon. Somebody said Spider-Man 1. And I'll allow it.
They did eat Thanksgiving.
I'll allow it.
Meal.
The Thanksgiving dinner scene
great
with Willem
scene.
Dafoe is so good. And he's being all creepy and Green Goblin-y, and he looks at Peter's bleeding hand. And he's like, Peter, what happened? I think if I think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, we will give Spider-Man 1.
There's no if. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
And so we will thus attribute Thanksgiving movie to Spider-Man. And now maybe you've given me something new to do this holiday season. Okay, let's get this Dan Mullen clip. And we still got to get to Pole Assassin as well, so a lot to get to this hour. But Dan Mullen was doing his media yesterday. Much is being made about Florida being 2-7 against the Power 5 in their last 9, which is horrible, obviously. And Mullen is someone who hasn't always handled these dark times the best, right? You know, remember last year's clips about the last game that the 2020 Alabama team played was so-and-so. Well, here he is yesterday. I'll let the clip speak for itself, and then we'll break it down. This is Dan Mullen talking to the media yesterday.
Coach, the topic of recruiting has come up a lot the last couple of days from a few angles. Is a different approach needed for the level of consistency?
Well, we're in the season right now. We'll do recruiting after the season, and when it gets to recruiting time, we can talk about recruiting.
Sounds good.
Okay. Next question.
Okay, real quick. I want to replay the video real quick. Somebody pointed this out on Twitter. It bears mentioning. Watch Mullen's face when the guy starts to ask about recruiting. You can tell that Dan is feeling a little insecure about it. It's a bit of a trigger point. Watch how his facial expression changes when the word recruiting pops up.
Coach, the topic of recruiting has come up a lot the last couple of days from a few angles. Is it a different?
I mean, you can see it right there. Subtle, yet
Well,
kind of screaming in a way, right? I would
This
be,
flipping guy is what he said in his mind. Because
what that reporter's doing also is kind of, a bit of attacking a wounded animal. You see a weakness, it's already bleeding everywhere, and recruiting would be one of those bloody wounds, and the reporter's just kind of sticking his finger in there and digging around a little bit. But honestly, I mean, hey, recruiting is the lifeblood of college football. It is year round. Like, that is a legitimate question whenever you get fielded it. We just asked Coach O about recruiting, and he's on the way out. And yet he was doing visits and had his assistant coaches.
Was at 2 high school games this weekend.
Yeah, going on visits. So, even Coach O is still out there pounding the pavement, and Dan's talking about saving recruiting for the offseason. I mean, obviously they're still recruiting, Jake, but to me, I would be pretty furious if I was a Florida fan and that was his messaging at a time when the actual on-the-field product is just really struggling. I mean, it's wild, dude. That feels like, to me, a man who is salty that he has not gotten his NFL chance yet and just really is kind of tired of the recruiting requirements of the college game. That doesn't sound like someone who should be at the head of one of the premier SEC powers. Like, if he wants to recruit less and just scheme up football, like, there are other schools, like when Leach was at, like, Wazoo or something, right? Or, I mean, there are other schools that's going to be more acceptable. It's just wild to me that he put that clip out there at a time when people are already calling for his head, because that feels like that would be a huge foundational piece to build, like, a case against him in terms of just public perception.
So obviously, when you look at the 2022 rankings, Georgia and Alabama are 1 and 2, so they're ahead of everyone in the SEC. Now, when you start to dive into it, A&M right now is 11. LSU, like you mentioned, with a coaching staff that's going to look completely different next year, sits at 12. So not where they're typically at, but they're right there at 12. Missouri is 14. Kentucky is 16th. Arkansas is 20th. South Carolina is 21st. And then you get to the Florida Gators, who sit at number 22.
Damn.
So a lot of Florida fans don't already like the way he goes about recruiting. We're talking about Dan Mullen here. And Dan does have his own way of doing things. He's not a star chaser. He does like to get some guys that he feels like fits what he's trying to do. But when you're at a big-time program, T, we've talked about this, you know what the expectations in recruiting are. And you can be behind Georgia and Alabama and LSU, but you ideally like to be like top 7, top 8, not sitting at 22 with South Carolina, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Missouri ahead of you in the SEC. Now, LSU and A&M and Georgia and Alabama being ahead of you, okay. But the other teams that I listed and the fact that you're number 22, like we hadn't even talked about, you know, Stanford and Florida State being ahead of you.
I mean, we expect LSU to be top 10 every year. And again, as I said yesterday, more attrition is coming from regime change. You avoided it last time, but that was the exception, not the rule. Like, I don't know that you'll find yourself in that top 10 this year. Maybe you will. I don't know. But LSU, expectations, at least to be in the top 10 every year. Florida should operate under the same level of expectation.
I'm wondering what the expectations are there. I mean, because obviously we know what they are here because we're here. We do this every day. The expectations at Florida, I feel like, should be pretty close to what LSU's are. I mean, they've won 2 natties in, you know, not recent memory, but 06, 08, and they've had good teams since then.
Been to Atlanta a few times since then.
They have. I mean, including last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that has high expectations, and they've gone to 3 straight New Year's 6 bowl games, which should be the expectation. You know, that should be a game you strive for. That should be like the minimum standard. And they've been there, but it doesn't feel like they've been there because they were 8-1 last year, lost their last 3. They've been bad this year. Now they're 4-4. I wonder what the feel is there, because when you make a move at head coach, you have to also ask yourself, who are we going to get? Who's going to replace who we have? Can we get someone who's better than Dan Mullen? Because there's things that Dan Mullen does really well. I don't think recruiting's one of them, and I think there's some other things we could talk about, but a play caller and play designer, and he's really, really good. But I've got to imagine the heat is pretty hot right now in Gainesville. And if it's not, then my expectations of what that job were are different.
I mean, what does Doran say when you talk to him on the pregame in the SEC
you
podcast?
have to tune in this week.
That y'all should all listen to and
now,
check
we
out.
definitely are going to have that conversation. We record tonight. That'll be out tomorrow. We're going to have that conversation because when you look around the SEC and you look at some of the places that coaches have been moved on from, it's not been as bad as the situation is currently right now in Gainesville.
So I thought that was just wild that a major college head coach who was already in hot water would be so flippant about recruiting. But again, Dan's always been himself, for better or worse. So I guess he's just sticking with that mantra. When we get back, we got OTB Mailbag. Then we'll get to that Saints talk that I teased. That'll be at 8:30. Of course, we got Nick Underhill coming on at 9 to break down the game from Sunday. So coming up next, let's dive in. Get your questions in the chat. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. That helps us out. Subscribe to the Off the Bench and Off the Bench Overtime channels. More OTB next.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
I mean, not to brag,
but let me brag.
But do you even have a 3-year lease on an all-black 2020 Toyota Camry? Probably not. I do, okay? And you could join me in my elitism by going to allstartoyotabatonrouge.com. I went in there, hit a number. Did not want to be paying another car note, but alas, life deals you hands sometimes. All right, so I went in there with a number. They found me a beautiful sedan that I'm now rocking. And then I've never ridden a sedan before, but it's been excellent. And so the point of all this is that All-Star Toyota almost knew what I needed more than I did. And they found me the exact answer for me and my family, and they can find you your answers as well. And you get the All-Star service, the All-Star selection, everything else. So don't put it off anymore. Go into All-Star Toyota today. Go to allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com, and whether it's a minivan, sedan, truck, small, or whatever, it's all there at All-Star of an airline. Go to allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are now open for business and are ready to serve our customers with disaster relief employee pricing off I-10 in LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crews at Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are going to do right by you.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a
It's week 10 in the prep football season, and we get started Friday with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, at 6 p.m. And we'll wrap up the night at 10 with a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep School Board Show on Your View, YouTube, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back, Off the Bench. God, I love Willem Dafoe's facial structure. His high cheekbones, that wide, maniacal, almost rictus grin, square jaw, the sunken eyes, sparkling. I mean, just.
What's your favorite
fantastic.
William Dafoe movie? Not the best one. That's a different conversation. Your favorite. Best and favorite are different.
I know. I'm trying to think about
I
the
love
famous
the movie
Dafoe roles. I think
One
you're
Crazy
probably-
Summer, but it's a bad 80s movie that I thoroughly enjoy.
Is yours Boondock Saints?
Yes.
Okay. Figured. What did I see him in the other day?
I really like him in American Psycho.
That's what it was.
He's good in American.
I loved him in
That
a
is a
small
great
role,
movie.
but
Oh my God,
fantastic in American Psycho when I saw him the other day, for sure there. Gives off this level of like menace without doing a lot that's pretty impressive there. I do love him as Green Goblin, and a horrifying movie, but he is really good at Antichrist. But again, that is not recommended for kids or anybody who is not into like dark horror movies. So do not watch that if you're.
Willem Dafoe is someone that has done it for so long and has done it so many different ways, so many different roles.
Yeah,
so good.
He's got a lot of range.
What about Finding Nemo?
Who's he in Finding Nemo?
He's the fish with the scar on his face.
Yeah, the antagonist fish.
No, he's not antagonist.
He's not antagonist in Finding Nemo, really.
I haven't seen Finding Nemo. No.
The antagonist is kind
He's
of
Gil. His name's
the
Gil.
world, the ocean at large.
His name's Gil.
I don't know who the hell you're talking about there. Oh,
he's got the
he's
huge
in the
scar on his
tank.
face.
He's in the tank. Yeah, whatever.
He helps
That's-
find it. He helps
Fellas.
That is not one of Willem Dafoe's.
Fellas,
I need to see Willem Dafoe
fellas
smile.
behind the glass. Have y'all seen Boondock Saints?
I have not.
Yeah, I've seen classic.
Okay, thank you. God.
That's the best line from Spider-Man. I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, you should check out the subreddit Raimi memes. It's incredible. Right now, let's check out our OTB mailbag through the internet sent us.
Special delivery! I have this special delivery for off the bench. And look, it is marked most urgent.
We'll be writing to you.
The internet. What the is the internet?
All right, that's our OTB mailbag. William Ivy says, Moscona went through a list of coaches that already declined the LSU job. Is LSU the great job we think it is if so many coaches are declining? Who was on the list? I didn't hear.
I didn't hear either. As far as declining, like I don't believe that to be true. Like when you're in these coaching searches, you have your list and you call around and you're like, you get interest, you gauge interest, but that's not to say that they would ever get an offer by any means.
I mean, look,
and I would even have a hard time thinking that like 3 coaches were contacted. There's a very short list.
I don't know who was said to be on this list, but I do think, like, look, if you're getting declined by some of your early targets, it's because you were shooting for the moon, right? Like, it's people keep mentioning Lincoln Riley's name. I cannot wrap my head around why Lincoln Riley would come to like almost an equivocal spot. Like, sure, you can get into arguments about whether LSU's a better job or not, but I think you're getting into some very narrow margin arguments, though, in terms of job security, everything else, payment. Like, I don't know why Lincoln Riley would come.
Well, the block's
here.
about to get hot for Texas and Oklahoma as far as week in and week out. Like, that changes the dynamic of those 2 jobs, I think. That's the one thing that's going to be different. When they come to the SEC, it is going to be different for them. Like, it's not going to be Kansas and all these teams, Kansas State and Texas Tech in a 3-week span. It's going to be Alabama, LSU, and Auburn. Like, that does change the shininess a little bit of the Oklahoma and Texas jobs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that remains to be seen what kind of effect that has on Oklahoma. The thing is, though, Lincoln Riley is so secure. It looks like Caleb Williams has solved their quarterback problems. Like, I just don't know why he would leave such a set-up, well-oiled machine and come be like, oh, let me just go have to create the same thing, but in a new spot that I don't know as well. So, like, yeah, if that guy turned you down, that makes sense. Jimbo turned you down, that makes sense. Like, these are guys who are established and pretty locked in where they are. So I guess my overall point, I don't think it's a commentary on the quality of the LSU job. It's just that you are going against very solid people, and if they have said no, then it kind of makes sense why they have.
I'd have to vet that before I kind of believed exactly where that stands. But Lincoln Riley makes $6.2 million this year, right? So if some of the numbers that we've heard are true, could Oklahoma match that? I don't know. That's the question. I mean, you're talking about
Oklahoma's pretty committed to football. Maybe they would get
I'm not saying they're not, but
I'm saying you
that's
don't think
a long
they
way
match
away
the over
from
$10 million a year. It is a long way away, but you think they would let their coach get poached for money?
Let's see. His salary will increase a little bit next year, but still, it's right a little over $7 million.
Well, I just can't. I don't know. I can't fathom that Oklahoma would let him walk his money, or unless they think that, like, look, Lincoln Riley, you're a cog, not the reason, and the success is inherent to the campus. Which
a lot of people
sometimes that happens, right? It's like Jerry Krause and the Bulls back in the day. That's what they thought that they had, and sometimes it's true on the college football level.
A lot of people feel like Lincoln Riley played at Oklahoma. I hear that like he played at Texas Tech. He did not play at Oklahoma. A lot of people are like, he's going to be true to the school he played. I'm like, he didn't play at Oklahoma. He played at Texas Tech.
I didn't even know Lincoln Riley played football, to be honest. I don't know. I guess he does kind of look like, was he a quarterback?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. Pierce Louisiana. I can't wrap my head around O still actively recruiting guys. Is this something that Woodward has him doing to maintain contact with players until the new coach comes in, or what? Yeah, I mean, it's all about, we are into the mitigation portion of the season, okay? Everything is about mitigating the fallout, mitigating the damage, and that's what this recruiting is. It's not that you're going to go, I don't think Coach Owens is going to convince some 5-star to commit to LSU right now, given all the uncertainty. It's about trying to just make guys who are committed and feel better about the future while maybe laying some groundwork for other guys. And, yeah, so it's about mitigation, right? This is not, and it's not, it actually makes all the sense in the world, and I think it's a good thing. It's not like he's out there like spiking relationships and trying to blow this all up.
This coaching search, for a lot of reasons, just feels obviously important, but it also feels a little different. But just because it's so early still to have a coaching search, like we're just now into November, and not many times do you have two top jobs open like USC and LSU. Now, I don't think they're going after the same people. I think the list is actually completely different for USC and LSU. So I definitely think that helps both schools. Texas Tech is open now. You're going to have more jobs. TCU, we talked about that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'd like to actually get into that a little bit more later on in the show. But now that job's open. So some of these jobs that are, I mean, TCU and Texas Tech are another tier down, certainly. But it's very interesting that now all these jobs are open. You're going to have these conversations behind closed doors for, 6 weeks. Like I feel like 6 weeks from now, I think LSU has a new head coach, but you're going to have these conversations in different circles for all these schools way sooner than we typically do. For big schools, I mean, you're talking about Power 5 good jobs.
Yeah, early signing day, too, makes this all very interesting, where you almost have to, or ideally want a coach in place championship week is when you'd want to make that announcement. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. It's National Deviled Eggs Day. Do you like deviled eggs? I love deviled eggs.
Is Pittsburgh the Steel City?
I will smash those things on Thanksgiving, Christmas, any apropos holiday. I also like making them. Fun to make. My father-in-law gave me a really good recipe.
What do you put on top?
Anything. I mean, I think the general recipe calls for, I think it's like a little paprika
on
top. But I mean, dude, my neighbor, shout out to the Champagnes. They got the Champagne seasoning, which is kind of like Tony's, but with more garlic and choo boy.
I put like a little Cajun seasoning on them, and then just a little dab of hot sauce.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. It sounds incredible. Ooh,
Dustin Poirier's hot sauce. I don't know if y'all tried that. It's really good.
I've not. Is it?
It's really good. I'll bring it in.
So go to Mailbag. Why isn't Dan eating chili out of his shoe yet?
Because he's scared, and he's all for the content until it comes his turn for the content.
Because the host keeps forgetting.
Okay.
That's probably part of it as well.
Why are you pointing at me? You're the host.
Both of us
today?
keep wearing-
Okay.
We're fellow hosts.
Both.
Look, I'm pointing at both of us. That's just your mind. My thumb's pointing at me. My fingers are pointing at you.
I think it's a stretch. Say that thumb's pointing at you. That thumb's pointing straight up. Maybe now you're curling it back a little bit. That was not as aggressive as a point as you pulled a second ago. Hashtag OTB Mailbag. When do you think it's appropriate to start playing Christmas music?
November
Day
1st.
after Thanksgiving.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go-to Christmas music listening experience?
Last Christmas, George Michael. Wham.
Last Christmas. I mean, Wham is. I know people like to play Wham again, but why would you deny yourself Wham for that long? It's awesome.
I go Elvis Christmas and Michael Bublé Christmas on an actual record player, like vinyl. That's the best way to go.
Look at that guy. Okay.
No, the imperfections of it.
Fancy.
That's not like. Is that fancy?
Vinyl.
I'm listening to old school
I'm
stuff.
not. No, I know. I'm not an.
player.
I'm not an
Yeah.
audiophile. I have a record player. I don't have speakers for it though. It's really pointless. But I'm not an audiophile. I do think the best audio quality though is on records. Like better than digital, better than CDs. I'm not 100%
the scratchiness of it is the imperfections of it. That's what makes it great.
But yeah, no, I really enjoy the classics. Obviously, Spotify's got a really good Christmas classics that hits. You got your Nat King Cole, Frank.
There's an
Elvis,
OTB Christmas.
Everybody.
Y'all had a bad tier list. Bad tier list Christmas music. I actually was doing my serious show, came upstairs to yell at you for it.
Because Elvis Presley was low.
Yeah.
Danny, do you realize any bad artist that you like, you could combine them all together and they would have sold like a third of what Elvis has sold?
Facts over feelings, man.
Look, man, Drake also has like the most sales ever, but I don't love Drake, so
You didn't have the most
that's
sales
how we're
ever.
judging. That's how we're judging.
Michael Jackson does.
Is that true still? I thought Drake passed him up. Might have to do a fact check on that. Hashtag OTB
He has
Mailbag.
no idea.
Is the LSU job that they think it is? Coach to decline interest. Jesus, people. Why? Whatever. We're not rehashing
don't
the
take
conversation.
the cheese,
We're not
guys.
rehashing the conversation.
Don't take
Also,
the
you
cheese.
can't believe anything you hear right now. Like we said, there are two
No.
people that know what's going on. It's Scott Woodward and 70 Rep.
And I've tried to get information. You can't.
Hashtag OTB Mailbag. My buddy Jim Burr says my questions always get answered on air. I say that's not true. Who's right? Well, it looks like you are.
Looks like you are.
Does Zion play before Christmas, or will he thoroughly enjoy his Thanksgiving gluttony?
Hopefully it's bad before Christmas. Like early December.
2 to 4, what'd they say, 2 to 4
2
weeks?
to 3 weeks, they'll reevaluate him.
They're doing more scans to see if he can do 5-on-5 play. You got to imagine it's another 2 to 3 weeks after that.
Yeah, so if he's
We're
cleared,
looking at 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, if he's cleared in 3 weeks, that'll be around the 23rd of November. Then 3 weeks after that would be December 15th, which would be a week before Christmas. So unfortunately, that's that's pretty close.
It's a tight window. That's what I'm saying. And he will almost definitely be getting down on a little Thanksgiving, for better or for worse. Do we have one more that's worth doing here as I'm looking at the chat live?
OTB Mailbag. Will we ever see another tier list on the show?
Yeah, I think we'll bring it back. I think it's going to be off-season fodder more. It's better than doing it year-round. Also, we're going to have to reignite the passion for it because let's all be a little, self-scout bi-week film room here. Nobody was putting in effort at the end.
Right? I think me and Mario were.
Okay.
But,
I'm not talking about the physical effort of putting together a list, Danny, which you definitely did, right? And that is a lot of work. I'm talking about we weren't really hashing out ideas the night before. There weren't a lot of suggestions coming in. The science was slipping, if we're being objective. So if we want to bring it back, we got to go full commitment to making the science good again. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I feel like you're talking more about yourself.
Oh,
wow. There's some therapy on the air right here.
Wow.
T. Just think about, okay.
Think about what?
No, I'm just saying, all the things that recently we've been trying to advocate for young Daniel back there, and he's just
I mean, Jesus,
kicking
right?
you right now.
Like him and Mark. I mean,
No, sometimes you got to look
Jesus.
in the mirror. And,
Okay. Did I say you stopped? Did I say you stop? You stop? What did I say? I said we. You know who's a part of we? Me, Danny. So yeah, I'm guilty of it too. So who should really be looking in the mirror? Because it seems like I'm owning it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like you're the one who's deflecting, Daniel.
Speaking of looking at the man in the mirror, it looks like Michael Jackson's sales were surpassed by the Eagles. The Eagles' greatest hits album, released in 1976.
The Eagles' greatest hits album.
Wait, so that's like the greatest
Put it
selling
on and let it ride
album of all time now?
It's
The
the
Eagles'
highest,
greatest
yeah.
hits?
As of September 2021, it passed up Michael Jackson.
Have you ever seen the Eagles in concert? Coach?
No. I've seen Rush. That was awesome.
Fantastic show.
All right, we are
Even Danny can get behind Hotel California, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
who can? I mean,
he's laughing. I don't know. Can't tell.
I should listen to the Eagles' greatest hits. I don't know that I know a ton of Eagles, even though I would recognize every song, right? But I've never
fair enough.
Down.
You didn't know it was the Eagles.
Yeah, I've never sat down though and been like, ooh, I want to listen to the Eagles right now. But I rarely do that with any music. All right, when we get back here, let's talk Saints. Keep it locked off the bench.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to centralplumbing.org, 925-8552. 925-8552 is the number, centralplumbing.org. They've been at it for over 50 years, y'all. And so any plumbing issues, you call them. They solve it. You don't lift a finger. You got an old house with character? Great. Okay. Awesome. They can fix it. They've seen it. You got a new house and something breaks down. That's really unfortunate and unlucky. But guess what? They are up to date with the latest tech. They can fix it. It doesn't matter what it is. Go to centralplumbing.org.
Centralplumbing.org is the site to go to. Look, there's probably some things that you can handle around the house when it comes to a plumbing issue. Like T-Bob found a way to change out the handle on his toilet. But
not to brag.
If it gets more intense than that, you need to call Central Plumbing. There's a reason they're the experts, and plumbing's not something that you try to do on your own. It's just very difficult. That's why they have emergency numbers like 225-925-8552, because they're going to come out, they're going to fix the problem. Centralplumbing.org, centralplumbing.org.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It is not too late. You can enroll today at ITI. Winter classes start November 17th. Our industry-driven curriculum will put you on a new career on a fast track. Enroll today for a better life.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way.
Join us for Tuesday's Hunt and Hill. Where do the Saints go post-Jameis? It's LSU Bama Week and our SEC Power Rankings. Join us noon to 2 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And when they're really stupid, it's awesome because you can still watch rated R movies. You can still curse in front of them. You can literally hold your baby in your arms and play World of Warcraft one-handed, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to feel like a bad parent. It's when they start to become cognitive that they start to become a little more maybe than it's worth. So I am a certified baby lover. How about that? Okay, I want to take a strong stance today. You know who is a certified finding ways to win without great quarterback play lover? Sean Payton. And Sean Payton saying yesterday the Saints don't need another quarterback, Jay. Not going to do it. And that would sound like coach speak, I think, with almost anybody else potentially just trying to put a brave face on. But I'm actually going to give Sean Payton, I'm gonna take him at face value here. But it's not just me. Vegas agrees as well. How about this? Even after the Jameis Winston news breaks, after the win on Sunday, Saints odds to win the NFC South, they were plus 600 going into Sunday. What are they now? Plus 310. And you say, oh, well, T-Bob, I mean, that makes sense, right? They beat the Bucs, who's their main competition for the South. Of course, their odds went up. Lest you think that, look what happened to the Titans, okay? They also got the big win. Their odds should have gone up for the Super Bowl. I mean, they look better than they ever have. But the Derrick Henry injury has actually caused their odds to fall. So the bottom line in all of that is that Vegas agrees that Sean Payton is a beast at being able to win with almost anybody under center. And then you get into it further and you look, since 2019, Drew Brees went 17-6. And I saw somebody talk about this too yesterday, Jake, and I think they're spot on. Was it Dov Kleeman, the NFL reporter? You know what I'm talking about? Doesn't matter. Well, he was pointing out that, look, and in a way, though Drew Brees was still really good at the end and his decision-making was obviously elite, you were dealing with a very limited Brees even in those years, right? You were not getting what you think of as Drew Brees. So Brees went 17-6 since 2019. Jameis Winston went 5-2. Teddy Bridgewater went 5-0. Taysom Hill went 3-1. You're talking about a record of, with not Drew Brees quarterbacks, of 13-3. This man put together a 13-3 season with Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, Taysom Hill. So of course he is okay to bridge this gap with Taysom or Simeon or whoever they end up starting. Do you have an opinion there on who you would play?
Well, I just think that, first off, Sean Payton is a wizard when it comes to getting a game plan together. It's amazing what he does. The fact that they've been able to do this, without your Hall of Fame quarterback, and even with this Hall of Fame quarterback, when Drew got limited later in his career, he found ways to be very successful and productive on the field. But when you look at what they have Trevor Siemian and they have Taysom Hill, obviously. And a lot of people are like, okay, what are you going to go do? Well, what can you do? Like, what could you realistically do? Like, you have a couple of options, right? You can either go get someone in a trade, which I don't think would be smart because a quarterback, it would take so long to get him up to speed with Sean Payton's playbook and all the nuances that go into it. And you have to remember, like Trevor Siemian was with New Orleans last year as well, so he knows the playbook. Mm-hmm. Also, you go get an old guy, like obviously like Drew Brees, the name that everybody kind of said on Monday, that got shut down. Do you go get a Cam Newton? Do you go get a Phillip Rivers, who said that he would be interested, when the Colts injuries were happening? Like, do you do that? And I don't think you do that, because right now I think Trevor Siemian is about as good as you possibly can have for this situation as your number 3. With Taysom, who's this wild card guy, and I don't really know how that's going to play out. But like Trevor Siemian has started 28 games.
So do you think Siemian starts over Taysom and you keep Taysom in the?
I think there's a potential for that. Okay. Siemian started 25 games, played in 28 games, and he's thrown. Look, there was a season he threw for 3,400 yards and 18 touchdowns. Right, so he's been in the fire before. Now it's been a long time. That was 2016. He hasn't started multiple games since 2017, but you have him. He's a veteran player. He knows the playbook. There's a potential to roll him out there and keep Taysom in his role with all the injuries that you've had. And maybe once you get fully healthy and if Trevor's not doing what he's supposed to do out there, then you can put Taysom back in the starting role. But I mean, Trevor Siemian, for what the situation is, and we said it yesterday, to have your number 3 be a guy that's thrown for 3,400 yards in a season, it's about as ideal as you could hope for.
That's a good point.
And he's been there multiple years. He's a smart guy, Northwestern guy, knows the offense, and Sean Payton can work with that, opposed to going to get somebody and trying to coach him up for 3 weeks down the road who's past their prime or past their trying to make that happen and trying to fit him into the culture when Trevor Siemian's been there for multiple years. And you know Taysom Hill is already heavily involved in that culture, and they love him in that locker room. So all of that, I think, points to me saying Trevor Siemian's going to get an opportunity to be the starter.
And it's interesting because everything you said is really how I felt last year about the Jameis Taysom dynamic, and they ended up playing Taysom. So
that's very true.
I agree with your logic, and I think, in my opinion, I think that would maybe be the best path forward. But maybe Taysom Hill surprises us, and his quarterback play is more refined this year than we're giving credit for. And he is more, I mean, he's vastly more dynamic than Trevor Siemian. I guess it's just, he just does. I mean, also, though, Taysom leaves a lot to be desired as a passer in some of the windows.
I think right now with the lack of offensive weapons that you truly have, Taysom can be one of those. Like, he has a really defined role when he's not the starting quarterback.
Yes.
That I think helps you if you choose the right ways to do it. Now, that's always been a conversation, but this year it feels like they've actually done a really nice job of when to use Taysom in that role. And again, like, this isn't Ian Book being the starting quarterback. Now, he's a piece to the quarterback room, like Sean Payton was talking about. They like the quarterback room.
So Alvin Kamara doesn't have to play quarterback, which he would have on Sunday if Trevor Siemian had gone down, which I would have loved to see, actually.
Straight up old school Wildcat, Darren McFadden just...
Like Sean Payton's genius mixed with Alvin Kamara having to play quarterback would just be fun.
We always like
it'd probably a loss, but it'd be fun.
It is wild. Like, every team, you get to that point and you have like the one guy who played quarterback in high school or maybe even a little bit in college, but he's really more of a skill player. And he can sling it, but you have to, like, at practice, you'll run a couple of plays. Patrick Creighton, I believe, was our guy when I was in San Diego. Like, Patrick Creighton played like high school at some point. He could sling it like 60 yards, but the mechanics of getting there were a little bit different.
All right, we've gone very long. We get back, a real quick segment, wrap up hour 2. Then we got Nick Underhill kicking off hour 3. More Saints talk, more Polis Acid talk. Keep it locked right here on OTB.
Off the bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to RejuveMeMedical.com. Restore me, refuel me, rejuve me. We love Rejuve Me Medical. You will too. They got locations, Denham Springs, Metairie, Baton Rouge. And so if you are looking to feel younger, okay, feel like you used to, feel like your best self, more mental clarity, lose some of that tough fat you can't get off anymore, more energy rolling into bed, out of bed, it's all there for you at Rejuve Me. And they do it by drawing your labs and creating a custom, comprehensive plan for you, Jake.
RejuveMeMedical.com, 225-230-4201. I give you that off the top so you can get that consultation set up because, like T-Bob said, like, you might be dealing with something and you want an answer to that something. Maybe it is weight gain. Maybe it's you can't lose weight. Maybe it's you have no energy. Maybe your mood and memory problems are starting to really flare up. Go get that consultation. Get it set up today. RejuveMeMedical.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed.
Coming up on a Tuesday edition of Early Line, we go out to Vegas and talk to Rafael Esparza of MyBookie.com. Plus, we recap Monday Night Football and start looking ahead to the weekend's action. Join us, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Did it again. I'm sorry, Danny. I'm sorry. Anytime I let my brain just go on autopilot is when I do it. And I just get so excited.
Short segment here, guys.
Yeah, we went really long. We went really long.
We got in our New Orleans quarterback feels.
Yeah, but we will have Nick Underhill talking Saints coming up right after this. I apologize again. And then, but I mean, look, y'all know the deal. I like longer segments at the beginning. I think it makes for better listening than cutting off minutes here to be like, dude, how about that Popeye's chicken sandwich with the hottie sauce? Which is actually awesome, and I would be down to talk about.
You just wanted to get that in.
It is. It was so good, dude. Miss Stallion knows what she's doing. Shout out Meg. And then, and then Pole Assassin. Still got to get to that. Keep it live.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
What are you pointing at there?
That Wake Forest fan that went in for the kiss and got denied.
Is that a good omen? Is that a bad omen?
I don't know. Go to outdoorpower.com. Man, poor girl. It's your place to go to in Baton Rouge or Gonzales to look for all your Hustler equipment. It's Louisiana's #1 Hustler dealer. But look, if you're listening to us in North Louisiana, in Alexandria, South Louisiana, everywhere in between, they will deliver that Hustler equipment to you. So go check out the website, gochoseoutdoorpower.com. Pick out your new piece of Hustler equipment, residential or commercial, or power equipment, T-Bob.
That's right, gochoseoutdoorpower.com, gochoseoutdoorpower.com. And now got locations in Baton Rouge and Gonzales. And again, when you buy from Gochos, you get advantages you just don't get other places, man. That free pickup and drop-off delivery service, the full access to a parts department, service department, so it makes the ownership portion of it so incredibly easy. Go to GoTowardsOutdoorPower.com.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt, and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
It is not too late. You can enroll today at ITI. Winter classes start November 17th. Our industry-driven curriculum will put you on a new career on a fast track. Enroll today for a better life.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Dr. Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Good morning, everybody. It's 9 a.m. on Tuesday, November 2nd. Today in Baton Rouge, expect to see clear skies with a high of 75. In case you missed hours 1 or 2 of the show, you can now catch that up at the on-demand section at 1045ESPN.com. Coming up on OTB OT, Nick Underhill of New Orleans.football calls in up next to talk Saints. You can follow today's show on Twitter or Instagram at OTB_ESPN, or watch us on YouTube for new content posted every day. You can also check us out on YourView. OTB OT, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo. Weekly New Orleans Saints updates with Nick Underhill on OTB are brought to you by former LSU Tiger and attorney Chris Perrette.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome in Off the Bench, kicking off hour number 3 on Tuesday like we do every single week with the legend Nick Underhill. NewOrleans.football is the site. Nick does it all himself. It's an incredible site. Go sign up today if you want the best. I mean, look, Saints are very exciting right now. You want the best, most in-depth, in-tune Saints coverage. It's there on the site. And remember, when you subscribe, everything goes to support Nick directly, right? There's no corporate overlords or any other nameless, faceless mob that you're worried about paying. You are supporting the artist, the creator directly, which I always appreciate. Nick, what's going on, man? How you doing this morning?
Hey, doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing very well, mainly because the Saints remain a shining beacon of football competency in what has at times felt like this year, especially here in Baton Rouge, looking at the LSU size, more of it, a lot of incompetence, right? I mean, the latest win, getting it done against the defending Super Bowl champs and Tom Brady with Trevor Siemian. I mean, we all know the story. It's just an unbelievable win. We all know how good Sean Payton's been in navigating the quarterback space. I mean, he should potentially be coach of the year. But let's just start with the most obvious question, which is looking forward to next week. And it's a debate that we just had. Who do you think, not who you would want to see start, who do you think Sean Payton will start next Sunday between Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill?
Oh, man, we got to start there.
Yeah.
I've been back and forth on this thought just the last 24, 48 hours. And, depending on the time of the day when you ask me, I could go either direction. I mean, I thought Taysom battled pretty well during camp. He won them games last year. He did okay in his first preseason game. Second one wasn't as good. And I think that if he could adopt the running ability, just the pocket presence that Jameis Winston has, nothing's there, take off and run. If Taysom could do that, I think he's an extremely viable player going forward. And I think that he could fill in and give you what you just had. He doesn't throw as good of a deep ball as Jameis Winston. I think he's a little bit better in the intermediate area of the field. So I think they could win games with him they have before, and I don't see why they couldn't again. And behind door number 2, if you go Trevor Siemian, I think you saw things right away that they didn't have as part of this offense. It was kind of like, if Breeze had hung around for 4 more years and had been on like a extreme decline but wasn't injured, I think that's kind of like the type of offense you could run with Siemian. It was some short stuff. You got that quick game going a little bit. The deep ball wasn't great. He threw one that connected. But I think they could win games with either one of these guys. I guess my fear with Siemian would be is if someone knew they were playing him and they prepared for him, would he be able to do the same things he did this week? I think it would be a little bit worse. I think the fact that the Bucs were preparing the play an offense that was going to try to set up shots and go deep, and then they're pulled in and it's dink and dunk, pop passes. I think that made it a little bit advantageous for him. So as good as he looked, I'm not sure he'd look that good again. Did he earn a look? Does he get another chance? I mean, it'll be interesting. I could see him going either way with this. And the thing is I kind of expect him to win games no matter who the quarterback is. And that might be dumb, but we've seen it 2 years in a row. And it kind of feels like who the quarterback is almost doesn't matter to Sean Payton. He'll find a way to get it done with whoever he has. And maybe Simeon's just a lot better being in the system. I mean, maybe he's inherited the growth that every other wayward quarterback gets when they come here. So it'll be interesting moving forward.
I think one of the things people forget about, Nick, and we were talking about before you came on, in 2016, Trevor Siemian did throw for 3,400 yards. He had 18 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions, and started 14 games that year. Started 10 games the next year there for Denver. I mean, this is someone that is a really good value to have as your number 3 quarterback. In that situation that you had on Sunday, you're able to go to a guy like Trevor Siemian who has 25 starts under his belt. That's just not typical for a number 3 in the NFL. So there is some proof that he can have success on an NFL field. And now with Sean Payton, like you just mentioned, that can only go up.
Yeah, I agree totally. And he's someone that Sean talked about a lot during the offseason. Everyone would bring up Taysom and Jameis, and he'd say, "Hey, look, we got this other guy that we think is a pretty good developmental prospect too." And I'm sure there has been some growth. And look, the one thing I would say for Trevor is that he came off the bench and he played better than I thought Teddy did when he came off the bench. I thought he played better than Jameis did when he came off the bench, and I just think there was probably something that he's wired a little bit better to handle those situations. And yeah, like you said, man, he was respectable in Denver, and then if he enhances a little bit, I mean, why not? I think the thing is that needs to happen today, though, is if you're going with either one of these guys, you got to find a way to trade for another wide receiver and make life easier on them. And, you know, I know they are interested. I know there's been some calls made. It's just a matter of, like, does the right guy shake free? You know, can they make something happen? But I think they have to. And the degree of difficulty of that position is a little bit higher than it should be. Simeon made do with it. Jameis was making do with it. But I think, you know, if you're going forward, you got to do something at this point. I mean, you're behind the 8 ball. Degree of difficulty just got harder losing Winston. You don't have the same deep playability. I don't think you can hide as much. You got to find guys that can move the chains, sustain offense. And, you know, I just think overall the whole approach on offense could be a little bit better for the defense. I mean, it was just too quick off the field too many times early in the season. And if you're going to grind out points, protect leads, and not rely on the offense to win you games, the offense at least needs to stay on the field long enough for the defense to catch its breath. And, you know, getting another receiver can help with that. And I think both of these quarterbacks, the way they play, I think they're just built a little bit differently. And I don't know that they'll have the same upside as Winston, but I think there's a chance that they do a little bit better of a job staying on the field, having slower drives, sustained drives, and it's not as big play dependent. And that there could be some hidden upside to that.
I mean, it sounds kind of funny, but one of the things I think I miss most about Winston would be that you mentioned his pocket presence and running the ball and how effectively he's been doing it lately. Do you think that because like you alluded to, there's an obvious lack of weapons on the Saints offense. Does that put the thumb on the scale for Hill to remain in his role? Or does that argument reinforce, no, you want him at quarterback so he can be more of a threat every play?
I think they're going to go with whoever the best player is at that spot. And I don't know that that's going to be part of the decision. Maybe it tips the scales if you're at a coin flip. But, yeah, I think that there's merit to both approaches. I mean, if you have him as a weapon, you have him as a weapon and he's available. But, look, I mean, what's he have, 3 catches the whole season? It's not like he's lighting it up and you're losing Travis Kelce at tight end.
No, I think about it almost purely, and maybe that's why you just play him at quarterback. I think it almost purely about the value of the short yardage game. I mean, that's where he has, I think, been best.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that'll be the deciding factor. I think that the value of quarterback is just so much higher than whatever he's giving you at tight end. It, you know, you can get Garrett Griffin going and get some of that, you know, pass catching ability. And you know, I just don't think it's that much different. And I don't think that's going to be a deciding factor. I think they just have to get the best guy at that spot. And, you know, it might just end up being Taysom. I mean, like I said, he competed through it. And this might just be like a big process of us trying to talk ourselves into something that we haven't seen. And maybe the unknown's a little bit more appealing. But Taysom can win games. And he showed that last year. It's just the upside, you know what it is at this point. So he's not as exciting. He's kind of, the ceiling is really that of a backup quarterback. And, you know, maybe we're all just trying to figure out if Simeon has just a little bit more. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. And I think that kind of adds to some of the appeal of him. But I think, you know, both these guys are probably pretty even. And I think it's just really a matter of who they think just isn't going to make turnovers, you know, who's going to protect the ball better. Because really that's all it comes down to at this point. They're going to win enough games to get into the playoffs if they don't make mistakes on offense. And I think Sean Payton's just going to try to figure out who's going to be the guy that protects the ball the best, and that's who's going to end up getting the job.
And so we've probably already belabored the offensive side of the ball too much then, because you're right. Look, you and Jake agreed last week that this defense is Super Bowl caliber. It certainly looked like it on Sunday. When you look at the defensive performance, what stood out the most to you from Sunday's game?
It's crazy because, you know, I think they could still get a lot better. I think they're just kind of scratching the surface. And, you know, the defensive line did a good enough job getting after Brady without blitzing, really. I think they blitzed like 7 or 8 times the whole game. It was pretty controlled, and they got pressure when they needed to. You're seeing Cam Jordan come to life. I'm not sure that, you know, Davenport came in and changed the game, you know, that much. But he was there, and he helped out. And he was around the ball a couple times in key plays. He's moving people, and I think he's going to be much more impactful moving forward. Davenport's he looks great. So I think that defensive line is going to continue to get better. I don't think the linebackers played their best game, but they were pretty solid. I don't think the cornerbacks played their best game, but it was a good performance against the Super Bowl champs, and it just reinforces everything that we're seeing. And I think that they're just going to keep getting better and better. And look, I think Dennis Allen is like a borderline genius at this point, and it feels like they're on borrowed time with him. I really can't believe that he's not a head coach somewhere at this point. I don't know what else he has to prove, but when you're the one guy in the league that can confuse Tom Brady consistently every single time you play him, I think that should just be all you need to write on a piece of paper is your resume, and it should get you a job somewhere. Because who else is doing that? But he does. He baits them into mistakes, and that doesn't happen in other games. And I think that's the most impressive thing about that performance.
Really good point.
Nick, what do you think about some of the defenders coming back from injury and suspension? Onyemata, Quan Alexander had a sack. How do you think they played in their first game?
Yeah, look, I think all those guys are looking. They're looking good. I mean, Quan looks like he's settling in. He's around the ball. He's impactful. I kind of like the split that they're getting with him and Pete Werner. It seems like they're both kind of in the spots where they can succeed. I think it was like the second play of the game, Werner had a tackle for a loss, and it kind of like felt like it impacted their run plan a little bit going forward. And Quan's in those spots where he can shine. And I think when he's in running situations too often, I think he gets exposed a little bit, and they're doing a good job of keeping him out of those spots. And I think, it kind of allows Werner to grow into his role, and eventually he can do a lot more and take on a lot more responsibility. Onyemata kind of just played that nose spot, and he's a people mover. And at some point he's going to shake free and get sacks. I think he had like 4 sacks last year from the nose tackle position, and with the way they play that 3-man line, I think they'll get more production out of that moving forward. So I think, the arrow's just up for this defense still. And they already, like we said, they look Super Bowl caliber, but I think it can continue to get better and better just as they settle in and figure out what they're doing with all these guys, how they all fit in and get everybody up to speed. I think they're going to be a better unit, come Thanksgiving than they are right now.
Real quick, Nick, status of Mike Thomas.
Who knows?
Okay.
I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play this week. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a little while before we see him. There was some optimism. Optimism seems to be, going away. It feels like it's getting further away than closer when you talk to people. Maybe people are just, frustrated. I don't know, but
you think
I'm kind of preparing not to see him for a while.
Does Zion or Mike Thomas play first? Do you have an opinion?
What did they say Zion is, like a month?
They said 2 to 3 weeks. They're going to redo scans to see if he's ready for 5-on-5. So that kind of does feel like a bit. That feels like 4 to 6 maybe total.
I'd say a coin flip. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect from Mike at this point. It's just the more you talk to people, the more pessimism is starting to come out. A few weeks ago, he saw a specialist. I think it was October 12th. And coming off that appointment, I think people were optimistic that he was going to be back soon. And, he was on the sideline, so that's something. I don't know what it means, but it was at least good to see him in the flesh. But, it just feels like over the last couple of weeks, starting to hear a little bit more negativity around that situation. So it'll be interesting to see.
Last one here, Nick. It was funny when Mark Ingram, when that news was announced, it was kind of a mixed bag, right? A lot of people very excited. A lot of people saying, "Oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's not going to impact the game anyway." He had a pretty good impact here in game number 1. Do you expect this to continue to grow? Like when it's all said and done, is Mark Ingram the Saints' all-time leading rusher at the end of this year?
Yeah, I think he will be. I mean, he's real close to it. At Houston, he looked good. I was surprised when I watched some of the stuff he was doing in Houston. It was surprising to see how much burst was there because you kind of look at his age and you think the mileage is up on him, and then you look at the mileage and kind of realize that he didn't really play a whole lot his first couple of years. Last couple of years, the carries were down, so he still looks fresh for his age. And I thought he was impactful in this game. And honestly, there was a stretch there. I think through the third quarter, you're kind of wondering why he isn't doing more. He was off the field for a little bit, and I thought that he was playing well, and I thought they should have used him a little bit more. So my criticism on that game is that we didn't really see enough Mark Ingram, and I would have liked to see him cut into. I think Alvin had close to 20 carries. I would have liked to see him cut into that a little bit too, a little bit more. And I think he will going forward. But I think it's a great addition. I think he is going to be a difference maker. It gave them another option in the short game, which is something that they're desperate for really at this point. And I thought he played well, and I think it's a great pickup for him.
Nick Underhill. He is the absolute best. New Orleans football is popping off right now. I mean, they have film breakdowns. They have exclusive podcasts. They have analysis specifically about the quarterback situation. I mean, it is the best. Go check it out. Sign up today, New Orleans football. I'm a proud subscriber. Nick, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nick_Underhill on Twitter. That is kind of a depressing question. That's kind of funny. Who plays first, Mike Thomas or Zion Williamson? I think
very
it's
depressing.
Thomas. I think it's Thomas, but I feel way less good about that after what Nick just said. You hate hearing that pessimistic swell because that means that it's not going very well in the building.
A lot of truth.
Boy.
A lot of truth, what you said there.
What's going on with Slant Boy? I don't know. Still the funniest nickname. That and Blitz Boy for Jamal Adams. I don't know.
And everybody that calls him that name
I don't know why
wishes
it's so
they had
funny.
their salaries.
Ain't that the truth, man?
Every single person.
I mean, I get insulted all the time, and I don't get paid nearly as well. That'd be
No,
awesome
I know.
if
If I'm gonna get a nickname like that, like
So you can
pay
never
me.
insult anybody richer than you? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, you can.
You can.
Yeah,
but
you absolutely can.
They're paid off of running slants better than anybody else.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
blitzing
get
better
what
than
Jake's.
anybody else.
Yeah, I get what Jake's saying.
Gotcha,
Right. What we are clowning them for is the same thing that has led them to all the success in their life.
Yeah.
Yes.
but
We miss the slants very much.
But that said, Slant Boy and Blitz Boy are still just very funny.
Oh, they're
sounding
dope.
nicknames.
Yes, yes.
What would you have been? Power Boy, 1 Yard Boy? I don't know. We'll have to workshop it during the break.
1 Yard Boy.
I don't think 1 Yard Boy plays. I don't think 1 Yard Boy plays. That's a horrible nickname. Nobody wants to be 1 Yard Boy, I don't think. All right, when we get back here, let's go ahead and get into Pole Assassin and the curious case of Monkeygate 2021. Keep it locked right here on Off the Bench.
OTB OT.
Go to Louisiana811.com today. In the state of Louisiana, if you're putting a shovel in the ground at your home or your place of business, it is the law to dial 811 2 days ahead of time. It's the Louisiana Underground Utilities and Facilities Damage Prevention Law. It is the law in the state of Louisiana because some of the buried lines are right at the surface, okay? And it's for the safety for yourself and for those around you, but also, like, it's not just power lines. It's water lines. It's fiber lines, right, for the internet, whatever it might be. And so when they come out, they're going to clearly mark exactly what you have going on. You're going to have different colored flags depending on what you have. But so, like, obviously the power line is for your safety. Like, the water line is, like, you don't want to be the person who floods your neighborhood. The fiber line, you don't want to be the guy that knocks out the internet for the entire neighborhood. So go ahead. They take the hassle out of it. It's free to you to dial 811 2 days ahead of time. They'll be out. They'll do the work. Louisiana811.com, Louisiana811.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit garciadidmyroof.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are now open for business and are ready to serve our customers with disaster relief employee pricing off I-10 in LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crews at Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury will join us. We'll talk some Saints with Larry Holder. Hopefully you'll join us as well, 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back, OTB. Great nicknames here. Thick Boy for me. I agree. Host Boy, which I assume they can only mean me. I agree. Yeah. For Jake, we have, how do you like Blitz Pickup Boy? Okay. You are, like, if we made a comic book with Blitz Boy as the protagonist, you are the antagonist. You are Blitz Pickup Boy.
Okay.
Constantly foiling his plans to disrupt the quarterback. Cloud of Dust Boy?
Don't hate that one.
Puka Shell Boy?
Don't hate that one. Oh, my. Danny, what you laughing at?
Don't worry, they got Danny. I got Danny. I got one for Danny.
Soul Patch Boy?
No, that's not bad.
Bruh, what are you working with back there?
Yeah, you do have a
chin hair boy.
You do have a chin. You would be chin hair boy, Danny. That is true. Booty tickler boy.
Booty tickler.
No, Danny skipped leg day boy.
Oh my!
That's Danny. He skips leg day boy for sure.
Okay. Cloud of Dust Boy. I like that one. I like Blue Glass Boy for Danny.
Spanish language announcer boy?
No. I like Khaki Boy for Mario.
Okay,
he always wears khakis.
That is true.
Which is fine. I would be Black Jogger Boy. That's all I wear.
Mario Harbaugh.
Am I just thick boy?
Jim Jerez.
I'm down for thick boy for sure. Yeah, you do have a little bit of Harbaugh in you with those khakis, don't you?
You go Dockers, a certain brand?
Oh, no, not really. But I do attack every day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. So
okay.
That's a Jim Harbaugh quote.
Yeah, for sure.
If one of us
you be Tiny Hand Boy.
Okay, I'll take Tiny. Maybe just
Big
Tiny
Hand.
Boy. Let's just make it Tiny Boy. I kind of like Tiny Boy. And then there's a little, and honestly, T-Bob, petite means little, right? I mean, there's a lot of synergy with Tiny Boy. Also, then you call me T-Boy, which is pretty close to T-Bob. Maybe that's my rap name. I don't know.
I'm so happy nobody said Island Boy yet.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it, Mario? But you just said it, so way to go. Emil Naru, Jake, why'd you shave? He convinced himself that all his favorite teams were losing because of his mustache.
Losing streak.
Yeah.
4 in a row, Bo.
Somebody did ask her a mailbag. I think it was Nookie. So if your teams keep losing, what goes next? Sideburns? He's going to get rid of the burns completely?
Teams ain't going to keep losing. Ain't going to be that.
Okay, we'll see.
Bray's going to go ahead and win this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Everton's going to Everton, so I can't really help you there.
Wolverhampton got that win over Everton yesterday.
Woo! Are you a Wolves fan?
Raul Mendes scored a goal.
Oh, did you see that one too, Danny?
Our boy Raul. Whenever it comes to Wolves, that's when me and Danny see eye to eye on Jimenez. Let's go. Mwah. Love it. Ow, ow. Wolverhampton.
Name another player.
Adebayo, the Jack guy. Boom. Nailed it.
Ada what?
Adebayo. Adebayo. No, I don't know. I don't know. Is that not his name?
Can I?
The Jack guy?
No.
It's not Adebayo.
No. Can I?
What are you gonna do?
Can I finish? And so, the Hokies got to get back on track. The Tigers got to get back on track. Our quarterback, he didn't have his best day. He didn't have his best stuff. He was
Matt
a little
Flynn,
wild with the football. We try to go below the neck with the passes. Can't have the kindergartners raising their hands for passes. Just not a skill set they had just yet.
No accuracy.
Not a lot.
I think he should be benched.
I mean, the other coach was dropping dimes.
And personally, I think he maybe should be benched.
At least play calling duties might be taken from him. He can stay out there as quarterback. But we'll see.
He's like Bill O'Brien. He's a fine quarterback. Just don't make him into a GM, right? He's a fine quarterback. Don't make him into a play caller. You call me baby lover boy.
Oh, God.
If you wanted to, that comes from Gulf South in the chat. Good call. You could call me monkey lover boy because I love monkeys. At times in my life, I've maybe also loved exotic dancers. At other times in my life, I've loved Halloween parties, right? I think it's rare, though, that all three of these things have ever come together into one story. And if you were on college football Twitter last night, you were treated to a fantastic ride where all of these elements were indeed involved in one story with a side of monkey attacking child. So for those that don't know, I guess this is how it started to break. Texas special teams coach is Jeff Banks. Someone who I feel like is pretty, really highly regarded, right? I mean, he gets paid $1 million a year.
He's been a lot of places
to be the special teams coach. And, well, it appears that at his home where they were having a haunted house and a big party and everything over Halloween, that his pet monkey appears allegedly to have bit a child to the point where, at least one report saying the monkey's jaws had to be pawed off. I don't know about the accuracy of the level of the attack, but it does appear like a monkey bit the child. Well, come to find, okay, why do you own a monkey, Jeff Banks? Well, it appears that he is kind of married into this monkey, as Jeff Banks left his wife for an exotic dancer named Pole Assassin, who has a monkey, Gigi, who is her sidekick on stage. In fact, the monkey had an Instagram for a long time. Last post back in 2018, interestingly enough, a post referencing the monkey attacking daddy because it's protective over Pole Assassin. This is a wild story. This is a wild story on multiple levels. I would point out this is that while it is all objectively very funny, I feel like what's going to hurt Banks the most over time is just a single sentence left his wife for an exotic dancer named Pole Assassin. But I'm going to come to Jeff's defense here. We don't know his relationship, okay? I don't know how toxic it got with his ex-wife. Like, maybe that was a broken relationship. I also don't know how his relationship with Pole Assassin is, okay? That could be a very healthy and loving relationship. I feel like we're all making a lot of prejudgments in that regard that I'm just not sure about. Also, I saw Pole Assassin give a tour of their house, basically, and showing multiple signage because she's very read up on the exotic animal laws and what it takes to own a monkey legally.
Okay.
The kid was in the wrong. Like, I don't think Jeff's going to get in any legal trouble here. The kid had to go through multiple barriers that clearly said, like, no trespassing, live animals, blah, blah, blah. And then he got bit by Gigi. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dude. If you're not throwing ones, you got to go, kid. And that's basically what Pole Assassin's monkey Gigi taught him. Yeah, really,
just the names alone are Pole Assassin.
It's a great name.
It's a great name.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of thought process goes into that.
Yeah.
And this is someone that has been, he's been an interim head coach at Texas A&M. I mean, he was at A&M from 13 to 17. He was at Alabama from 18 to 20. We're talking about Jeff Banks himself, not Gigi. And he's well respected. He was a leading candidate for like the Washington State job.
Yeah, he like I said, he's paid $1 million. Actually, to Jeff Banks' credit, on the football field, that Bill Connolly has Texas the top 10 special teams unit in the entire country.
Yeah,
on the S&P Plus. So like they're actually good. Now he did call one of the worst fake punts I've ever seen this last week, where I only came across it because of this story. But he tried to run Dicker on a fake punt. It was like 4th and 11. And he was just like, yeah, sure. Baylor won't be a punt safe. Like, sure. Yeah, no, we can just run him, even though they were clearly lined up in punt safe. And what happened? He got like 2 yards. But besides that, no, ostensibly, Jeff Banks' on-field performance has been quite good. And again, I don't know if I can say it doesn't look good.
Right, but
I don't know their relationship, okay?
What, does this change like his career, in your opinion?
So that's where I actually think that it does.
You do?
If we're being serious for a second, I think that's an impossible headline to escape if he ever, he'll never get a head coaching job now. I don't know that you're ever going to be able to sell the general public on the nuance of, look, it was a bad relationship with my ex-wife. It needed to change anyway, and I just happened to fall in love with Pole Assassin. I support that kind of love, okay? I don't know, again, though, that when you're hiring sometimes a public employee that's going to be paid millions of dollars, a lot of times maybe like one of the most important jobs in the state, millions and millions, I think it's going to be. But you know what? Maybe Banks doesn't even want to be a head coach. Doesn't matter.
Might not be.
Just keep performing on the field, and you're all good. And admittedly, Jeff, try to avoid having Gigi attack anybody else. But no, look, I hope that Jeff and Pole Assassin I hope they have a great relationship. Dude, that Halloween party seemed rolling. I don't know how long they've been together. That would be a key detail in all of this if we could try to figure that out. But the Halloween party seemed really cool.
There was an article that wasn't sure if they've actually been married, if it's just his girlfriend. Some people say she's changed her last name. It is Banks, and so there's a lot still up in the air with this story.
Yeah.
Look, if that man wants to marry, he can marry whoever he wants.
Yeah.
There's no issue with that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe look. Like I said, sometimes you can get a little twisted up in those places, but it looks like this one may have stood the test of time a little bit, right? And so that can happen sometimes. Andrew Perrodin said, might have to change my Xbox gamer tag to Pole Assassin now. It is an objectively cool name. It is a really great name for an exotic dancer. Like, it works on multiple levels. It works on, obviously, the public work level, and then it works on a more intimate level.
We got it.
It's like Cam Jordan talks about. There's levels to everything, including Pole Assassin's double entendres.
Yeah, I think that went without saying. I think we got that.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making sure we all understand where Daniel Basham, there's a point in the 90s where everyone wanted a monkey after seeing Ace Ventura.
That's very true. Or Aladdin.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about what pet I desperately wanted. I wanted Pokemon all the time growing up. That was always my fantasy.
It's not a real animal.
It's having like a little Cubone running around. It's a little dark because Cubones actually live with the skull of their dead mother on their head.
Yeah, they're scary looking as hell. Why would you want a Cubone?
Cubones are not scary looking. They're actually freaking adorable. Throw up a picture of a Cubone.
It's got like a skull and it has a bone for a weapon.
Yeah, and it's its mother's skull, which is a little disconcerting, right? I mean, you don't see Gigi walking around with Pole Assassin's skull on her head. Yeah, that's a cute little thing, though. What if you could own that little thing? Tell me you wouldn't rub that belly. I rub that little. You look at that thing, Jake. Look at that thing.
It's not real, though.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, you couldn't want one of those because you couldn't get one. I'm saying,
I mean, it's as real as me owning a monkey.
Having a pet.
And then that I'm never going to.
Oh.
So it's just a fantasy either way,
Sure.
right? So I can just engage in whatever fantasy I want. I wanted a fleet of sugar gliders, says Bilbo. Yeah, there was also a time when, like, it was, I knew a few people that had a flying squirrel. I never understood why, but they did. And I don't know, maybe they had fun with it.
They haven't made a live-action Pokemon movie by now?
Yes, they have.
Have they?
Yes.
I'm trying to think.
They have, yeah.
They I'm telling you,
No,
factual,
I'm trying
they
to think.
have.
I'm just help me remind me of it. I'm not saying they haven't. I'm saying like
Ryan
when-
Reynolds' voice was in it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I already get into some nerd semantics.
No, we got to take a break. We're like way over.
Yeah,
Then we
that's
can
right.
do it later.
That's right. We'll talk during the break about it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Coming up next. I don't know what coming up next. Off
How
the
do you
bench.
come back from Pole Assassin?
It's tough. It's tough. Jeff's asking himself the same question today. More off the bench next.
OTB, OT.
Go to AccuTempBR.com, AccuTempBR.com. Look, man, if you have any AC heating or electrical needs, you want to go to AccuTemp and you want to text the word heater to 31996 right now. Get that $59 tune-up. Like we said, double scoop seems like it's here to stay. So you want to make sure, or at least for the immediate future, right? It will get cold eventually, though, and you want to make sure your heater's running right. You want to take advantage of this deal from AccuTemp now. Get in the system. Experience what it's like to be a customer of AccuTemp. Recognize that there's a reason why the ratings are so incredible online, and you will be thanking us down the road.
Make sure you're getting that heater checked because as I'm looking at it right now, this weekend on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the low is in the 40s. So you're going to have that heater on. You want to make sure, again, you don't shock the system. There might be some points in the day you have the AC on, then you turn the heater on at night, obviously here in South Louisiana. So make sure you're getting that heater check from AccuTemp, and that's AccuTempBR.com, AccuTempBR.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Thanks, you're ready. Yardbirds up. Veggies in the window.
Barbecue guys, born to grill.
Pops, how many steaks you want?
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So
it's week 10 in the prep football season, and we get started Friday with Louisiana Prep Preview presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, at 6 p.m. And we'll wrap up the night at 10 with a full 2 hours of the Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours Louisiana Prep School Board Show on Your View, YouTube, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got the body of a goddess, got eyes but a pink and brown eyes.
coming down from the ceiling. Yeah, she know what she doing. She doing that right thing. Need to get her over to my crib and do that night thing. I'm in love with a stripper.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Is this is an Akon, is it? Who sings this?
No, it's
T-Pain?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out. Shout out T-Pain. Gets too much crap. Oh. I mean, it's impossible not to think about Jeff Banks singing this now. It's like, I mean,
Serenading her.
If he would never do this. The block is too hot. But in a perfect world where we were all less forgiving and more fun, Jeff Banks would be releasing a parody video today of him lip syncing this song. But alas, we don't live in that reality. We live in the the not as fun one. Everybody get mad at each other one. I think I had something to talk about with Polestar.
Again.
Oh wait, no. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
How do you come back from?
Yeah, no, I know. I think okay. First off, I was being a little bit too much of a nerd gatekeeper, trying to discern whether or not there's been a live action Pokemon movie. Because Detective Pikachu, while different than other Pokemon stories, definitely is a live action Pokemon movie. So it 100% qualifies and matches that mark.
I thought you were about to.
No. I thought it out. I thought it out during the break, talked it out with some of the chat, and it is a live action Pokemon movie for sure. How many necks did Jacob's Puka Shells touch that song in the middle of Tigerland? Were you doing some grinding to T-Pain back in the day with your Puka Shells?
No, the Puka Shells didn't make it down to Baton Rouge. They stayed in Shreveport.
Okay.
And I've been with my wife since high school. So she
one neck.
Yeah. Back in high school because I left them in Shreveport. Couldn't bring those to Baton Rouge.
I remember.
There's a time and a place for Puka Shells, okay?
Speaking of necks and wives and everything, I too have been with my wife since college, and she broke her neck in a car accident freshman year back in 2007. Intense stuff, right? She ended up in a neck brace for like 3 months. We were fresh to college. We're freshmen, right? You got to party. I mean, you're fresh to college, right?
And you
It's
did.
what you do. And so there are so many pictures from freshman year in Reggie's that are so funny to look back on, where we are literally sweating, covered in liquor, grinding, and she's got a neck brace on. Like a true cannot move your neck brace. I'll never forget dancing with her, and she couldn't turn around and look at me, so she kind of have to like twist her whole upper body and like kind of look at me out the side of her eye. And you know, I mean, we did everything with that neck brace on, which is just a funny kind of time to live through.
That is dedication to the dance floor.
Yep.
And a neck brace.
Yeah, getting ratchet with a neck brace in Reggie's at
Good on
18
you,
years
Caitlin.
old. That is, that's, hey, don't talk about it, be about it. That's that pole assassin type stuff right there, man. Thinking neck brace is holding back pole assassin from dropping that thing. I don't think so.
I need to see evidence of this Reggie's night, though.
We can
Neck
find
brace.
it. I mean, the pictures are places. Let me see if I can, if she's got them on deck like that. Do you have pictures of you in a neck brace?
Brace at Reggie's. What a text to get at 9:45 in the morning.
All right, right on. Now, somebody asked a question. Is this the worst Alabama week ever?
Last year was pretty bad.
Last year was pretty bad. This does feel a little, maybe, you know, maybe this hurts less than last year because we saw it coming from so far out. So I could kind of get down with that. But it is interesting. Dick Condon came in here and told us something mighty fascinating earlier. What did he say it was? 28 years to the
He
day?
said 28 years, pigs will fly.
This Saturday
28?
will be 28 years to the day when pigs flew.
Yeah.
Now, let's be clear. It feels like if LSU was going to win again, pigs would be flying like 100%. It feels like that is the case. But if you're looking for maybe some small modicum of hopium or copium to make you feel a bit better, there you go. History repeats itself, right? That's what we always say. Well, 28 years to the day, pigs will fly once again this Saturday.
A pig cage is playing. Coach O said it.
Dude, the signs are all aligning. Let's go.
He did say it.
All right. Coming up next, let's go to the other show. Little ask.
Oh, we're getting a little actual on time.
I was gonna ask the bench a few minutes here. So get your questions in. More OTB to close out.
OTB, OT.
I hate allergies, but I love Donaldson Glass and Body. Jesus. DonaldsonGlassandBody.com. DGBauto.com works as well. Remember, you get in an accident, the police cannot tell you where to go. They can't tell you to get to tow. The insurance company can't tell you where to go. Why not go to the best body shop in the state? That's DG&B, and I'll put that on everything. Jake, but look, man, things get really busy. Obviously, you're busy like 24/7. Things get really busy in everybody's life. And so if you're anywhere in the listening area, let's say you need some collision repair, free pick up and drop off delivery. So you don't have to worry about getting down to Deville. They got your bag. They pick it up. They fix it, drop back off to you. Go to DonaldsonGlassandBody.com today.
And they do it so fast. I told you the story. I was here downtown. They had to pick up my car from my house. They beat me to my house before I could even get there. And throughout the entire process, incredibly transparent. Here's what you've got going wrong. Do you want us to do this? Do you want us to do that? They didn't just do it and send you a bill later. DonaldsonGlassandBody.com, DGBauto.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt, and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are now open for business and are ready to serve our customers with disaster relief employee pricing off I-10 in LaPlace. If you need sales, service, or fleet, the crews at Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram are going to do right by you.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. But then you came along.
There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Join us for Tuesday's Hunt and Hill. Where do the Saints go post-Jameis? It's LSU Bama Week and our SEC Power Rankings. Join us noon to 2 weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Whoa. What a bummer that is.
Danny. Salads.
Oh, salad boy.
Danny literally just said during the break, I can't eat a whole caniac.
Look at caniac. Who could do that?
Oh, my God.
Didn't say it like
When I was
that.
hungover one time, dude, I ate 2 monster tender baskets from Pluckers. 2. Now, granted, it's one of the worst I've ever felt. It was a horrible idea. It was a horrible idea. But I did it, Danny. 1 caniac.
Bruh.
I'm not trying to feel terrible after a meal.
I always wanted to make a video where you like order a caniac and then when they hand it to you, you just grab it and you just like rip it open and yell in their face and like throw it all over your car because you're caniac. Hashtag Ask the Bench brought to you by Cold Curse Light, Vizzy Hard Seltzer, and Blue Moon Light Sky Citrus Sweet. Andrew Perrodin, Ask the Bench, can we get the scoop on the bet T-Bob made yesterday? It's an off the bench crew bet.
Yep.
We put our heads together. Jake came up with a grouping of games. Really, in the end, it was kind of Jake and Mario mainly leading, which are the most experienced gamblers, so that makes sense. And we have landed on I had to do a 2-team parlay.
Yep.
And so we did Wake Forest money line, Ole Miss cover the 9.5 against Liberty. If they do it, that 500 that they gave us will turn to 2,000. We'll all get 500. It'll be awesome. So we need every listener's energy for this weekend. We are cheering for Wake Forest and Ole Miss.
We are Demon Deacons.
Yep. I can't say that.
Nope.
Can't say that.
Can't say
But
that.
that's a funny saying that I came up with.
We can't say that. So we had a couple games. Oklahoma State, West Virginia was in there, but your West Virginia loyalty, I don't think you could allow that to happen. Cardinals versus 49ers was in there as well. But
So
I think,
terrified of the NFL.
But I think Mario did a great job of finding that money line parlay because we needed a little plus action to make it worth its while.
Yeah, I mean, get it up to 2K, and then we all get the even 500 split if we win. I agree. That was a play. That was a great play there.
It's almost like Mario does a betting show, early line, that comes on this station.
Oh, how about that?
2 to 3.
Every day. Listen.
Yes, sir.
And listen to Flock Up Podcast. Ask the Bench, how confident are you that a coach will be announced for early sign day? I would say there was almost a guarantee unless you're going to an NFL coach.
Ooh.
If it's a college coach, it has to be before early signing day, right?
Yes.
NFL coach gets murky because I don't know if that guy's going to pull a Petrino and leave in the middle of the year. I doubt he would.
Be calling the Hogs at midnight that night.
Yeah, exactly.
Leaving notes in players' lockers, and that's how he told them. My coach said in San Diego, he was in Atlanta at the time. He said he found out because he saw him calling pigs on the TV.
Oh, my God, dude.
Imagine being Louisville and hiring him a second time. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Wasn't he okay, or was he not okay?
No, he was good. He got fired, and he was, it's big. Don't have time to explain. Bobby Petrino's terrible.
Yeah, I agree with you, though. I think you have to have someone in place. Championship weekend.
Yeah.
This is a big recruiting class. Sorry to cut you off. It's a big recruiting class in Louisiana. You need to make sure that you
attrition is coming. You have to mitigate the damage. Yeah. That is the theme. Mitigate the damage. Ask the Bench, any reason why we haven't created sound clips of Hanny freaking out yet? We should. Ask the Bench, the entire crew wins enough money each to buy a PlayStation. When do you see the supply actually beating demand and being able to purchase one? That is fair. It's impossible to get one. But one of my best friends, probably my best friend, is a dirty reselling hustler scammer. So if y'all do actually want to get your hands on one, we can do that. Which a lot of people hate on him. And admittedly, is he taking advantage of a bad market? Yes. But, it's his hustle. It's not like he's doing this to like live. It's like, hey, get it how you live, man. I don't judge him. Pole assassin or lap murderer? Whew,
OTB OT.
Oh, man. Somebody asked about the Book of Boba Fett trailer. I have to save that for tomorrow. Go to Oster.org. Oh, yeah, we didn't even put this picture up there, Danny. Oster.org for all of your orthopedic needs. Neck braces, maybe. Over there at Oster. Actually, they do have some very forward-thinking neck exercises that my wife has actually done. Like, they have all of these non-surgical options to explore in terms of strengthening your neck. They're at the forefront of that. They're the forefront of a lot of medicinal avenues, right? If you're watching online right now, you see me jogging on that gait analysis machine. This is a way to and try to unlock those extra percentage points, those final performance pieces if you already are an elite athlete. If you want to get bigger, stronger, faster, they have Ochsner performance training. But if you get injured, there's a reason why the Saints, the Pelicans, the LHSAA, why everybody trusts Ochsner. And it's quite simple, okay? And it is that they combine the best facilities with the best doctors, nurses, physical therapists, and it gives you the best results.